Yeah, that's okay. I'll let Dave do it. He's the mod on the.
I mod for Brian Gar. I can mod for this.
You mod for all. And you know what that means? It's time for the bi-weekly geeky podcast from parenting point of view. This is Geeks with Kids. I'm your host, Eric, in my favorite radio voice. And joining me this week is Steve, Markus, Matt Moore, and David. How's it going, guys?
I'm back.
Oh, no.
He's back. Hawk is going to hopefully join us a little bit later. He had to deal with some stuff. But, stuff happens. And we really understand this, this feeling of shit happens to us because we just watched a shit ton of Black Mirror episodes and the looks of Markus and Steve, and I put them on the stream side by side, like right beside me, just so perfect. I could I could just look left and right and they would be there. Yes. So
which way do I glare? This way?
Yeah, no, the right way. No, you glare the other way.
Okay.
You both are glaring in the right way.
There you go.
So, this was actually an idea we had thought about, a year or two ago.
We have a lot of ideas. We think a lot of ideas. And
we thought about this before everything exploded. I remember that.
Yeah.
Episode.
Yeah, we talked about this right before the pandemic hit, and when we're like, maybe we shouldn't do it. And then,
maybe not spiral down this dark, bottomless pit of ennui for a year or so.
But we've already been in that spiral for a year, so we're like, fuck it, let's do it. Let's jump into the thing. So, like we do every week, we're gonna talk about what we're liking this week, and I'm gonna start with Steve. Steve, what are you liking? What's good?
I don't think anything will ever be good again.
What about pizza, Steve? Pizza's always good.
No.
Pizza fries?
No. What's the point? I mean, just die alone anyway.
Oh boy!
I watched a couple more time loop movies, but I can't think, man. I mean, I'm so toast right now. It's a really bad one too. It was like a Nickelodeon one called like Last Day of Summer. Holy shit! But still did not piss me off as much as that Christmas one I talked to you guys about last week. So.
I still want to see it. I still want to see how terrible it is.
So bad. Anyway, everything sucks. You upgrade and then you die.
Oh, good lord. There's a Warhammer sale, isn't there?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So Warhammer news. Yeah. Okay, fine. Now, you know what? After this, I'm dropping into the grim dark of the far future where there's only war for like 2 weeks to recover after this fucking thing we did.
That's fair.
That's the only thing that's going to improve. So
There's
I'm
a new
looking
Warhammer
forward to
game
it.
out too. It's a tactical strategy turn-based as well. Just launched a lot of Storm.
Yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of stuff, but yeah, it's starting Thursday. They usually have this annual event called Skulls for the Skull Throne, and they're just changing it to just Skulls now. I guess that's maybe a little easier to market. And I'm going to miss the Skull Throne, but whatever. But yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's going to be something good. The one good thing in my life after all the.
Is it a sale everywhere, or is it just like through?
I think it's a video game specific event, and this year I think because everything's online, I guess this is going to be their attempt to like try to really ride this like sort of E3 style thing where it's going to be announcements for upcoming games as well. And actually, in related news, Warhammer is actually going to try to do a streaming service as well. So I don't know that we're going to actually hear anything about that this week because this week's is video game specific, but they're actually going to try to create a Warhammer streaming service because they announced like a whole bunch of cartoons and shows that they're actually making for that service. But I don't know that much about that just yet, so that'll be one of my yums eventually.
Interesting.
Fuck, I said it.
We did it. Hawk, you missed it, Hawk. No.
I hate it here.
You hate it. I gotta get a bottle opener, man. Okay, I'll be right back.
Let's move on over to Markus. What are you liking this week, good sir?
God. You know what I'm liking? I'm loving the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
I am so all about the Bad Batch right now.
You love yourself some Omega? Omega.
I love Omega. I love some Omega. There's a whole bunch of theories about her, and I'm very excited to see where it goes. But
she's a Palpatine clone. You know,
if it's a Palpatine, I will be so mad. I'll be so.
She
pissed.
has the posture. She does the little thing.
I know. I know. Shut up. Don't ruin this already. Okay, I just watched your fucking Black Mirror. Give me a minute.
Hey, maybe it's Filoni actually doing it properly, so it'll make sense and not be garbage.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But so a little while ago, I just needed something, or a little bit of a enjoyous thing. So after watching last week's episode of Bad Batch, I started the last season of Clone Wars again, and just rewatched it because it's just so tight. It's like a really I just love the way they did that. And then watched the newest episode of Bad Batch, and God, I love that show. I just can't wait to see where it goes. I hope it goes forever.
Yeah, it's weird. Like this year for Star Wars Day, the only thing I did was watch the last season of Clone Wars. That was my Star Wars Day. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch this. It's gonna make me happy. I'm gonna see Ahsoka. Yeah, she's gonna be awesome. But yeah, there's so many theories about Omega. But I totally could see Dave Filoni being like, you know what? They fucked up the whole clone thing and the Palpatine stuff. Yeah, so let's fix that. And you know, like the Caminoans. Caminoans. There you go.
Campinos.
They if they're not getting like clone troopers made anymore, they need something to stay in the monies. Apparently.
Yeah, and well, that's they brought that up with themselves, and so I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It could be, I don't know, what either way, I fully trust Dave Filoni and his people, so I think it'll be great. Well, sorry, I fully trust him now.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think it'll be great. Also, I just got a couple of new helmets. I got a Republic Commando Star Wars helmet, and I have my Clone Trooper Phase 2 helmet just shipped from Australia, and it should be here soon.
Nice.
So I'm very excited to add a few more helmets to the collection.
You need to add those like little things across the top of your room just for all.
That's gonna be in the. Oh, I also have. So I'm building a workshop in my backyard, and I've already got it set up so like the concrete's getting poured end of June, and then the shop itself should be built end of August, I think. Nice. But that place will be the housing for all of my helmets. Like they're going to be there. I mean, not even it's like everything. I'm going to box it all in shadow boxes. It's going to be beautiful, glorious.
Hey, if you want some decorative barn board for the outside, I have a whole ton of it right now.
Oh yeah, your shed?
Yeah.
Send me some pictures. Send me some pictures.
I'll get to that. I will.
Nice.
So
there was something else. Oh, there was a theory in Bad Batch that I thought I'd run by you guys. There's a rumor that Fennec Shand was trained by Jango Fett, which is why she's so highly trained, and why she's loyal to Boba Fett, and why the Kaminoans have hired her to find Omega.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it tracks.
I actually have. I'm 3D printing the Fennec Shand helmet right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you eating Kit Kats?
Awesome. Yes, I am.
Damn it, I love Kit Kats.
Taking a break.
Let's move on over to Dave. He's a little blue right now. What are you liking right now?
I'm blue. I picked up Crusader Kings 3.
I saw you playing it.
And I think I've played 20 hours in the last 2 days.
Oh my god!
Nice.
Good.
I'm playing with my buddy. There's a tutorial. They call it Tutorial Island. It's Ireland. And I united Ireland. I became the High King of Ireland. And then I was like, you know what looks good? Wales. And I moved into there. And I've taken parts of Scotland. And next is I'm coming for you, Iceland.
That's fair. They're very green.
Yeah, we're gonna bring the Catholic faith all the way up to Iceland. It's the only way. It's the only casus belli I have is to go invade Iceland based on religion.
Fair.
But it works. It's so addictive. And what's crazy to me is that it's a very good looking game. Music is incredible. That game is like 8 gigs.
Really?
It's a brand new game. Came out last year, I think, and it's tiny. And you can zoom in, like you can see the whole world, and you can zoom right in. All the way down to like your farmstead, basically.
8 gigs. Is the game even worth downloading if it's not at least 50?
In this case, yes, because like it's like a Civ level game but it doesn't take up 120 gigs on your hard drive like Civ does.
God,
I don't know, man. I mean, Call of Duty, man, you need like 250 gigs. I mean, that is
250, 500 gigs now, man.
If a game's not at least filling half your drive, is it worth playing at this point?
Call of Duty wants your entire PlayStation hard drive.
Yeah,
basically.
Call of Duty.
It's a good strategy.
They released an update like with patch notes, and they're like, you may need to attach an
external hard drive to play one fucking game.
I love the notices. Yeah, I noticed I noticed about 4 months ago they started like in their like liner notes and updates they would say, you can actually uninstall components that you're not using, right? Because it was just getting so ridiculous. Right?
They had to add that feature though.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
See, that's why I got rid of the game. Like I enjoyed playing it. I enjoyed playing it with you guys, but I'm like, if this is taking up most of my terabyte drive on my PS4, I don't care how fun it is. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, agreed. I got no. What the fuck? Why is that happening? No. Why would I want one game to take over my whole fucking PlayStation? No.
Unless it's the humongous stall from Fallout 2 that is like just under a gig, because at the time, like a 2 gig hard drive was massive.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
But Fallout's also Fallout. Right?
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
Also, I would say check out Unreal Cinema if you like Star Wars, check out Unreal Cinema on YouTube, because they're doing a KOTOR fan film, and they've already talked to Disney, and they're like, you're not making a game? They're like, nope, we're using the Unreal Engine to make a movie, like a short film that's just going to tell the story of KOTOR, and they're going to start hiring, they're going to start looking for voice actors soon. They're currently looking for artists and stuff. Marcus, I already put it in the chat, their website.
Okay, yep. Check that out.
It looks so good so far.
It's great?
I mean,
I've been learning Unreal like the past couple of weeks, and it's super easy. I find it easier to use than Blender, which is crazy.
It's kind of their goal, I think. They want everybody to use it for everything.
It's so good.
I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Matt Moore? What do you like it on right now? What's your yum?
You know, I'm not even phased by it anymore. I've been gone for a month, and it doesn't even faze me anymore.
That's fair.
Also, I'm back. Hooray! Let's see what's exciting. I started playing and last night beat Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
With like 90% some odd completion, because there's just some side quests I'm like, I don't care enough.
Some
about
of those
this
trials are just so fucking hard.
The trials weren't the problem. It was like finding like all the flowers and little tokens and shit where I'm like, I just don't care. There was one that I'm like, I spent like a day on it. I'm like, I don't care enough about this to continue it. I'd rather finish the game.
The last trial was the biggest pain in my ass. That was the thing that I waited to get my platinum.
But I'd had that, and I was that with Frozen Wild, so I did the expansion as well with it too, which is like it was an amazingly fun game.
I never did the DLC.
It's fun. It's weird because the DLC, when you play it with, because it was the complete edition, because I got it from it was free on the PlayStation Store the day I downloaded. So I'm like, cool. That DLC triggers at level 30. Mm-hmm. So I got to like 32. I'm like, you know what? I'll just do this DLC and level up. Playing through the whole game when you hit that, when you do that whole expansion at 30, makes the game so much easier to play because you get all the caster guns, and it suddenly makes hunting things so much easier.
Sure.
Fair.
Like that shock caster, like I would not have been able to beat the game if I didn't have that fully loaded in my inventory at all times. Amazing game, love it. It was literally like I was getting to the end of it when we got the notification, hey, they're doing a state of play. I'm like, they're going to release the sequel. Thank God. And it looks beautiful.
We will be talking about that in the news in a couple of
I know we will. I wanted to preamble on that.
I'm going to play the video actually while we talk about it on the stream. Not that you need to watch it. It's a good video.
It's awesome. It's totally worth it. The game looks beautiful. I'm excited for it.
I think it's still free. It's part of that pandemic games that they were giving out for free.
I can't remember. See, the thing is, I found that because it was one of the hot links when I opened up the PlayStation Store. I can't find it anymore. And I was driving me nuts because I really wanted to. There was a couple more in there that I wanted to play that I didn't download.
I think it's under. No, it's not called State of Play. It's called Days of Play. Days of Play. You have to look for
Days of Play. Yeah, I got to look for it.
Yeah, it's
I need to find it. But yeah, it's worth looking at.
State of Play maybe.
Days of Play. It's also on the PlayStation blog, so you can go there and it'll link to the online store.
I might do that then, just because I want to find it. Just because like they had a bunch of great games there that I hadn't heard of. And I'm like, I actually want to play these.
Mm-hmm. I think Moss was on there and a bunch of other great games. Yeah. Moss you can't play because it's VR, but that doesn't matter. The Anything else you're liking on right now?
I'm also just preemptively very excited for Dead by Daylight's new DLC pack coming out in a couple weeks.
What's the deal with that?
Resident Evil.
Oh, nice.
The two survivors are Leon and Claire, and the killer is Nemesis.
Nice.
And
nice.
it looks like the beta stuff from that. It looks good.
Nice. And I wish I had jumped on when you sold it pretty good to me when you talked about that game.
Isn't it? Wasn't it free on PlayStation?
Yeah, it was.
It was.
We can still jump on whenever.
It will be again. They always usually, if it's going to be free again, it's always around October when they drop it, because the base game, like, they can give the game away because it's the key is that, like, playing it is playing it. It's the DLC is where they make the money on it. Is all like the rift, like the monthly pass and the downloadable characters and killers are where they're going to make the money. And they, even then, like those, like they average at about $20. So it's not even like it's insane. You always get at least one survivor, one killer, and a bunch of maps. Nice. So like for me, it's like, I'm not even mad. Like, oh, I have to drop like $20. Cool. Yeah. Now I can expand the game out more.
I've always really liked asymmetric, games that are, a little bit off the path, So it looks interesting.
Nice.
And I'm still caught in the black hole that is Fortnite, but not as badly.
Fair.
They keep releasing skins that like make me want to play it, but
I know.
Same.
That's where they get you.
They're really good
every time.
Yeah.
But the season's almost over, and then it's one of those like I'd like, okay, I've gone far enough in the season, I don't care about it anymore, and then it's like, oh, the new season's coming out. I was like, shit, so they're going to change the whole game again.
Yeah. Nice.
Which is what they've been doing. They're like, hey, it's a new season. Here's a whole bunch of new mechanics, and we're going to take a bunch of stuff away, so you have to relearn the game.
Which I appreciate. Paid a lot of money to keep you addicted to that game.
Yeah. We'll see if they can keep doing it.
I can appreciate some of the marketing and the thought process behind it, because at least it's every time the seasons are like 3-4 months long. Mm-hmm. So you get like 3-4 months of solid play. People can get to a point where like, we figured out how everything works here. And they're like, cool. Now we're going to change a bunch of shit, and then it resets everyone to zero again until they can learn how to do stuff. So I appreciate the fact that no matter how good you can get at that game, like the core mechanics are always the same, but they just keep like mixing up the weapons and they mix up the maps. So like you have to constantly be relearning.
Yeah, no, free to play is a science. I mean, there's a lot of companies that don't do it very well. I mean, unfortunately, we were all united with like Warzone for a time, and I think they've actually kind of fucked it up, So as an example,
honestly,
as an example of a company that does it well, I mean, the Epic is still pulling Fortnite numbers.
I feel like
high.
Warzone would be a lot better if it wasn't 500 gigs.
That's just it. That's the biggest problem, is that it's like, it's a fun game to play. And again, it's as addictive, if not more so, than a lot of these other MMO shooters. But the fact that it's taking up half your drive, like, I don't care how fun a game is, but I want to be able to play other games too. And if I can't because that game's eating up my hard drive, it's a simple equation.
Warzone is they're doing an 80s event right now, and they added
they added Rambo.
They added Nakatomi Plaza.
John McClane.
So that's the only thing I want to try, but I'm like, you know what? There's a bunch of games that I want to install, and I
feel exactly the same way. I'm like, Rambo, 80s music. I've got some 80s tunes in my vehicles, but it's like, oh man,
this is the one thing that actually did kind of bug me about Warzone with that, is that it's very, like, you can get the skins and it's very cool, but it's all first person. So you can't actually see the things that you've paid for. Yeah, it's really cool because everyone else can see your dress like that. I guess like with at least
they
Fortnite,
shoot you from across the map.
Best thing is, at least with Fortnite, you're paying money for these skins, but you can see it the entire time. So you're like, I paid for this. I enjoy looking. Like I'm aesthetically pleased by this overlay. I will purchase it. As opposed to, I am pleased by the fact that I know other people are seeing me play this character.
I never bought characters. I always bought the guns because some of them were like,
guns matter.
Hey, look, there's some really cool perks
pew pew.
And the pew pew and the laser looks. That was always cool.
Although
if you get a finishing move, what's worse, paying $20 for a skin or spending 130 hours in Character Creator making the perfect character and then playing a first-person game?
Yes.
I've done both, so
yes.
I don't know.
They're equally cringy for different reasons.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, on my yum list, I've been
Nothing matters anymore.
No. I've been playing Ori and the Will of the Wisps on my Nintendo Switch because it was on sale.
Nice.
And that game is phenomenal. It's a Metroidvania game, and it's beautiful. The story's wonderful. On the Switch, it's running on 60 FPS, if not higher, which is really crazy. And it's gorgeous. It's full 1080. And other than that, I had a really important meeting last week with a publisher, and looks like I'm going to be working on a nationally distributed magazine, so that's gonna be cool.
Ooh, fancy!
Congratulations!
I'm gonna be doing the layout and ad design and stuff like that. So it's gonna be like, it was a really stressful meeting, but it went well. So
of course, well, congrats.
Yeah, so that's cool. I can't talk about it obviously because I'm gonna be under NDAs like nothing else.
As always. I have a new job as well too, which is kind of Irish. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing that I should probably bring up. The fact that I have a new job.
Well, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, man.
I am now employed as a cook at a pub that is literally around the corner from where I live.
Ooh, congrats, man.
Okay.
That's awesome.
What's the pub?
I'm not going to name its name.
Okay, tell us in the chat later.
Send me a message.
Well,
I used to live around there. I want to know.
Actually, no, it's true. I'll tell you, it's a Full and Flagon.
Oh,
yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I like that place.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Back when I used to go places.
Yeah. It was part of it was because I was getting I had no idea what was going on with technically the place that I still do work, even though I have no idea when we're going back there, which is the other kitchen. And also, yay, taxes. I needed to get some income.
Yeah, fair.
Because income tax hooped me this year.
Yeah.
Hooped a lot of people, man.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
Mine part. I'll do the TL.
Yeah.
I'll do the TLDR on this. There was a weird, not even accounting hiccup, but just a way that things were processed from an employer that I had, that because of that put me in a separate tax bracket this year than I was used to being in. So instead of paying 0 income tax, I had to pay 4 zeros worth of income tax.
Yep.
So it got unpleasant. So I'm like, time to get a new job.
Yeah, me and Meg both got shifted into different income tax.
Yeah.
Tax brackets, man.
Oh,
yeah. So it was, and it was the difference of I believe $50 was the difference that because it crossed that line by $50.
That's terrible.
Because of how they processed end of year.
Was it a careless processing too by their part?
No, I did a lot of looking into it because I was livid when I saw it. It wasn't careless. It was just a way that's not normally done. It was basically my end, like my last pay of last year crossed over to January 2nd. It went from the 27th to the 2nd. So most businesses, when they do that, will just file that for 2019. They filed it to 2020. So it was a difference but because it was put in the first part of 2020.
Yeah. You got added.
That pay period put me over the edge for the tax bracket.
Oh, that's shit. I'm sorry.
Otherwise, and again, it was just one of those, I'm like, that sucks, because I literally looked at my 2019 to 2020. I'm like, it's a $50 difference. Man. And that's all it took. And I was like, that sucks. But again, it's not careless. It's not normally done the way that it was done, but it is a way to do it.
Yeah.
So it just kind of caught me by surprise, let's say.
We got super serious on taxes here.
Yeah. That was not a yum. That was a yuck.
Yeah. Oh, you want a yuck? Here's a yuck.
Yes.
I watched Zack Snyder's.
Don't even finish saying it.
What's that army thing? Army of the Dead.
Yeah, but it's a time loop movie, so it counts as last week.
Is it though?
Here's the thing. The thing. I'm gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk. Okay, Eric. Eric. Okay, Eric.
Okay.
Eric, okay.
What did you do? What did you do?
I told David we talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay,
fuck you. I specifically watched that movie because I knew we would have to talk. Like, that's what we do here. So I watched that fucking movie.
Watch
I don't even like
stuff and talk about it.
To contextualize, that movie was responsible for one of the most embarrassing wrestling matches I have ever seen on a pay-per-view.
What?
Because Dave Bautista was ostensibly starring in the film at WWE's previous pay-per-view Backlash, which was a few weeks ago. I think it was the week that the movie came out, or the week before. The movie was a sponsor of the pay-per-view because obviously Batista, WWE, they wanted to push
So naturally, he fought a bunch of zombies in the ring.
No, they had there was a lumberjack match, which for those of you that aren't familiar with, it's basically there's wrestlers in the ring and there's lumberjacks, basically a bunch of other people around the ring that stop them from escaping, push them back in. Mm-hmm. The lumberjacks were all zombies from Army of the Dead. I want you to think about that for a second. The ring was surrounded by zombies, and they weren't like people that were just dressed up as zombies. They were acting like legit zombies. They treated them like legit zombies.
But zombies that push things back?
No. At one point, both guys got out of the ring and then realized, oh crap, there's zombies, and then started fighting the zombies. And then at the end of the match, the guy that lost was laying in the middle of the ring because he'd been pinned, as wrestling matches tend to go, and the zombies all crawled into the ring and swarmed around him, and he has not been seen on TV since.
Oh,
wow!
So ostensibly, someone got eaten by zombies on a pay-per-view.
That's pretty lame.
And this was a pay-per-view that WWE charges $60 US for people to watch.
What is life anymore?
Fuck Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead.
Yeah, because he made that decision, right? He
probably
made that
helped.
decision to make that fucking paper.
So Army of the Dead is a time loop movie?
Yeah.
Sort of, maybe.
Sure felt like
No, it's not.
It doesn't actually show a time loop, but there's a theory.
Yeah, because
it
there
just never ended.
Because there are dead bodies that have the same like gear,
clothes. They have the same exact clothes as the characters.
So they're like,
is it a time loop, or are they just too cheap to actually have a budget for costumes?
No, because there are key differences. Like they're like, oh, maybe this is the fourth time loop because that corpse, it has a key around its neck with 3 little holes, and the character has the same exact key around their neck, except it has 4 holes.
Yeah,
and they're wearing the same clothes, and it's the same patches and the same guns and everything. So like, and the guy literally goes at one point, "Hey, maybe that's us."
Yeah.
In another like timeline.
Well,
what the fuck are you talking about?
I'll tell you what. If I make it to number 60 on my list, I'll add it as 61. All right.
You know what?
I'm not making any promises.
Here's the thing. The other issue I have with that, not even issue I have with that movie, but part of what, because I remember hearing about it I remember hearing about this movie when it was coming out, and I couldn't remember why. That was the movie that Chris D'Elia was supposed to have been co-starring in, and they digitally removed him from
and
it.
put in Tig Notaro.
Tig Notaro was awesome in it. She was awesome.
Which again is fantastic, but I mean I remember watching it going like, something feels weird about this, and I remembered, oh right, it's because they digitally removed an actor and replaced them.
I wish they didn't say it, like promote it so much, because every time she was on screen, I was looking for the green screen.
Right.
And that's all I could do when I saw her on screen. Was like, I was looking for
a lot of lock shots for Tig Notaro on this.
They did a good job in general, I think.
Sure. I mean, they have the tech to do it, so I would hope so.
That's what he said. He was like, we got the tech. We'll fix the movie by removing this problematic person. It's like, so what happens later when someone else in that movie might be problematic? Are you gonna remove them too?
Yeah. See,
also remembering that this was the man who was responsible for them digitally removing a mustache. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like,
no, he wasn't. That was
his name. His name.
Are they
was
gonna remove Joss Whedon from Avengers now because he's problematic? Like he's a dick, right?
Nice.
Sorry, Steve.
I was going to say Zack Snyder's currency to me has dropped considerably. So I wasn't really going to go see this movie because I find him to be okay. He's not terrible. He believes in the shots he makes, and the shots he crafts, in my opinion, are always really epic. I mean, you watch any trailer for any movie that he's involved with, and they're the best goddamn trailers you're going to see for a whole decade. All right, every single one of those fucking trailers, fucking amazing, right? But that's the problem. He just makes trailer bait. Unless the story or the script it can carry themes and emotions through the script, his movies end up being very hollow or abstract, right? There's just something about him. He's just so focused on creating shots without connective tissue that, Man of Steel, like, I have some friends who, like, still insisted this day, oh, yeah, that was a good movie. I'm like, no, a whole planet blew up. I didn't give a shit. A whole city got trashed. I didn't give a shit. Like, how do you do that? How do you kill 10,000 people and nobody cares, right? Zack Snyder found a way, right?
George Lucas did it.
There you go.
I didn't mind Man of Steel.
It's all right.
No, I'm not saying it's terrible, but I'm just saying it's so mediocre because you just don't really care, right? Like,
there's certain things that should be like big, epic things, that are kind of just pushed to the side because it's like, but didn't it look cool?
Yeah, that's the thing. It looks cool.
Sure.
all the movies look really cool, but there's something that's kind of lost. So anyway, that's all I was going to say. I haven't watched Army of Dead, and you guys can talk about it, but I wasn't really.
I will leave it.
That,
I will leave this Army of the Dead chat with one thing. There's just one last thing. There are robot zombies in it. Robot zombies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, okay. Before we move on,
I knew that was going to be the one that triggered Mark. I knew that was
what's next. Robo-sexual marriage.
Okay, so I did not watch Army of the Dead, and I did it as a conscious choice, not because it's a Zack Snyder zombie movie, not because of anything people said, not because of any of that. It's just I'm tired of high action zombie movies. Like I miss the days of quirky, weird, kind of campy zombie movies. I want funny zombie movies, or I want ridiculous, stupid zombie movies. My favorite zombie movie to this day is Cockneys versus Zombies.
Yes.
It's fucking great because it's what zombie movies used to be. It didn't take itself seriously. It's fun. It's stupid. And everybody can have a good laugh about it. And yet we still get to see a little bit of gore, some crazy thing. But we're not watching zombies climb each other and get over a wall and then,
that never happened.
Like
that never happened.
But like, I'm tired of this, like the zombies. Oh my God, action zombies, like zombies that think, zombies that now know, the zombies that I'm like, I don't care. That's not the zombie I'm interested in anymore. It was neat a couple years ago, and now I'm fucking done with it. I would prefer something funny or clever or back to its basic roots. So
fair.
Now robot fucking zombies. That's just something
they don't
else.
They don't explain it. They just show like two.
Why would you explain it? You don't need to explain it because it's fucking stupid. As soon as it shows up, you just walk away and be like, oh, I'm done.
But but you know what? I bet they looked really cool, right?
They had blue eyes.
It's definitely done in post. Like it's just like a Terminator, basically.
Yeah.
Fun fact: my favorite zombie movie, Shaun of the Dead.
I still think 28 Days Later.
Shaun of the Dead. Shaun.
It is a very good zombie movie.
Yep. Shaun of the Dead.
I can't remember. There was that one British film. It was a musical that was also a zombie movie at Christmas. I can't remember what it was called, but I freaking love that movie.
Chat or people listening in digital form, send us an email. We want to.
I'll look it up after we're done the episode, and I'll send you guys the link.
I did watch 2004 Dawn of the Dead before watching Army of the Dead, and I regret that decision.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. I know a lot of people that liked it, but
a lot of Canadians in that film. Other than that,
Dawn of the I you know what? I didn't hate the Dawn of the Dead remake.
The opening sequence, I will defend. Yeah,
the little girl.
The
best opening sequence for a horror movie like ever. But yeah, I can understand some people having some issues with the film as it progresses. I think with the second. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the opening outbreak sequence. Amazing, terrifying, and amazing.
Yeah.
I will forever love it for, and I will forever love it for introducing me to Richard Cheese and Lounge Against the Machine.
I'm surprised that was the first time you heard them.
Oh man!
Even though I cannot ever watch Modern Family because of that sequence, but I will forever love the movie because of that sequence.
Yeah, I love your rationalizations, Matt. They always bring a smile to me.
There's some things that you can't unsee, and that is definitely one of them.
By the way, I think the film you were referring to was Anna and the Apocalypse.
Thank you. Yes, Anna and the Apocalypse.
Just Google zombie Christmas movie. It's the first one.
Which it checks all the boxes that Marcus was talking about for like campy, goofy zombie films that go back to basics.
I didn't know about that.
And it's a musical, which it kind of comes out of nowhere. Because imagine someone breaking into song and dance while zombies are literally just like shambling around in the background because they aren't aware that they're there. It's beautiful.
That is how it's done.
Yeah,
nice.
And also creative use of lawn ornament candy canes with the spikes, like the lawn spikes. Very creative use of those in the movie.
Very important.
All right. So normally we do news, so we're gonna do news. I don't know why I said it that way.
Normally we do news, and we're gonna keep doing that.
Yeah.
And here with the weather.
So I had a couple, but we went a little bit longer on that intro because Army of the Dead, obviously.
My bad. That's my fault.
That's not your bad. That's I decided to bring that upon all of us.
Never apologize for your passion.
Blame Zack Snyder.
We will
daily.
So two things. I'm only going to do two things, and they're both PlayStation related. The first one is PlayStation Plus games that come out tomorrow are for PlayStation Plus are Operation Tango, which is a 2-player co-op game. I think you could only play it in co-op. That's the PS5 game. Then they have Virtual Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown. I never played that game. I don't know if it's good. And then we have Star Wars Squadrons, which is you know, I enjoyed that game. I played
So
on
nobody
PC.
has a fucking excuse. It's been installed on my hard drive on my PC. It's cross-play.
Cross-platform
Me too.
play too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. I'll do it, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I will hook up.
I might hit a download on that to see if it's fun.
It's fun
And the
with
single
people.
player's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's
No,
what I heard. It's
multiplayer
fun
is fun.
Yeah, they're both good.
Yeah.
I'll give
I'll
it
be
a
wearing
shot.
I'll be wearing my Wedge Antilles helmet the entire time. Yeah, great.
Yes.
Nerds.
Okay, wait. It's Bluetooth, right? The headset. So you can hook it up to your
cameo in the
PlayStation,
game,
can't
doesn't
you?
Oh my god.
No, not that one. Not that one. That's
Oh,
the
damn.
Star-Lord one. Star-Lord is Bluetooth.
Damn, that would
Eric,
could
does
wear
the
that
Wedge have
one.
a cameo?
You
in
can
the game?
annoy all the nerds by wearing a Star-Lord helmet. That I would have I sanction that.
That's a Steve move. That's a Steve
So
move. Yeah.
you're gonna wear the Star-Lord helmet while playing Squadrons while screaming "Live long and prosper." Just hit all three.
Nice.
I'll
Nice.
wear a
Make
Star
people
Trek
rage quit.
shirt. Yeah, I'll wear a Star Trek
While
shirt.
wearing the One Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Get
I'll
some
have
TARDIS action in there.
I'll have the Normandy
Ooh,
flyby.
yeah.
Live long and prosper. Let's save Frodo.
I can't wait to
people's heads
meet up with
explode.
Steven Universe. The other thing is we're gonna actually play the video while we talk about this. Is last Thursday? I want to say it's Thursday, right?
It was Thursday.
Last Thursday they had a state of play on Twitch, and we're actually gonna play the trailer now as we talk about it. But they had this 14-minute video about Horizon Zero Dawn. Nope, wrong one. Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, which is the free game that Matt was talking about earlier. And they showed it live, not live, but it was rendered all on the PS5, and it looked fucking gorgeous. What'd you guys think of this video? Matt, you go first because you just finished the game.
I was so happy, and this was I should have known this was going to be the case because the quick story, the reason I even found out about this game because I don't remember. I knew it came out in 2017, 2018, so it was a few years ago. It came out. Didn't know it came out. I found out about it because they released a packet for it on Fortnite. They had like the Aloy skin and Glint Hawk. And her spear, and I'm like, that I've never
How
heard
you
this
find
game.
out about everything now is
No, but
through
it's-
Fortnite marketing.
Did you know they
It's
have
true.
4 slot toasters now? I saw one in Fortnite.
But hey, after the Star Wars debacle that had me so rageful, I actually do use this to actually keep track of some stuff that may or may not be coming up.
But are you on
Because
top of BTS videos? That's what I want to know.
Oh my god, do they have BTS
They have a
in there?
combo at
They
McDonald's.
actually
for God's
did
sakes.
They did a premiere on Fortnite.
They did.
Actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
They also have a
BTS.
combo at McDonald's, which is a normal nugget combo with different sauces for an extra $2.
Is it Szechuan
BTS
sauce
gets
though?
fucked.
But what's
Yeah,
the
it
sauce
is.
though?
Nice.
Is
It's
it Fortnite
Szechuan.
sauce?
No, you
It's
get sweet
Szechuan
chili.
chili sauce. Yeah.
It's
So the
pretty good.
Mulan
Seriously,
sauce?
I'm like, yeah, but I'm like,
It's
you know
not
what?
the Mulan
Oh.
sauce, but it's close.
Oh, you know what I
Anyways.
saw them do? Sorry, to go off this BTS McDonald's thing. They're also releasing limited edition apparel that's McDonald's BTS crossover.
Great.
Yep.
Good for them.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
know it's
well,
gonna
wait
sell
till-
like fucking gangbusters too.
Wait until the skins come in, man. I mean, then you're
Yeah.
gonna have to be the BTS members.
But hey,
They're so
we couldn't
pretty.
get the Travis Scott combo up here, but my God, we're gonna get the BTS nugget combo.
What was the BTS?
Whatever.
It was just a sandwich, wasn't it?
What?
The Travis Scott one?
it was a sandwich, yeah.
Yeah, it was a sandwich. Well, it was like a sandwich and a fry and a Sprite. It was like the whole combo, but it was
Wow,
like
we're
just
like-
like they brought it up here in the fall. It was like the Southwest burger. They just didn't call it the Travis Scott burger because it was like 6 months after that thing had happened.
Fair.
Regardless. So
They're way
Fortnite
off.
saw the package. I'm like, this sounds kind of cool. And I saw the game was free. So I'm like, this is awesome. So I was very excited and pleased when I found out there was going to be a sequel to this. And then I saw the trailer and I went, oh, okay, I want to play.
This game. What about Marcus, David, Steve? Do you ever play the first one?
No,
I did. I played. Well, God, I don't know, a couple months after it came out. And I didn't know. And the funny thing is, like, I didn't have any inkling beforehand. I didn't see any marketing for it. I just was at a Walmart, I think, and I was just like, "Oh, that looks interesting," and I just bought this game. Little did I know it
Nice.
had just come out, and I was just like, it just had a big robotic dinosaur on the cover, and I was like, "That looks kind of cool," and I just didn't even think much of it. And then I started playing it, and I was like, "Ooh, this is kind of." I started playing it, and I'm just like, "Oh, this kind of feels like almost like an Assassin's Creed kind of thing." Okay, I'm getting
Kind of, yeah.
and then it just got better. And I was just like, "Oh, there's a lot going on here." And then it's got a pretty good storyline. Like
I really like the story.
It's new. The story was beautiful.
Yeah.
This is by Gorilla, right?
Yep, by Gorilla.
Yeah. They got people who did Killzone.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. This is much better than Killzone. Although I really like Killzone.
I loved Killzone.
I did too.
Yeah. It's 12 frames per second on my PS2.
Watching this state of play, just watching the combat get even better than the first one.
Yes.
Like the first one was so smooth, and this one just like just tops it. Like it just looks so
the
good.
fact that like we've adjusted some mechanics. I'm like, there was virtually nothing that needed fixing in this game.
Yeah, it was pretty tight.
But it looks so much smoother now. Like the climbing just looks like fluid, and
now they have a glider and like.
Well, the fact that they've introduced free climb areas, which is the one thing that irritated me about the game.
And water, like you can jump in and water.
You can dive. You can.
I see shit everywhere. I want to go to it, so let me get to it. So yeah.
I recall you couldn't go into water in the first game, right? Couldn't you just dive by jumping?
You just can't dive. But you're just swimming.
But wasn't there like actually a mission where you actually did have to go in the water or no?
I don't recall that.
Well,
am I remembering that wrong?
There was never a point where you couldn't go in water.
Cave.
It's just that you can get into the water, but you could never dive under it. You could only just swim on the top.
Yeah, but this time we have a crocodile swimming above and like
it looks like there's stealth
shit.
underneath the water too. Like they have the seaweed and stuff. And
there's tall grass underwater too that you can.
Tall grass,
exactly.
Yeah.
Apparently, you can. There are currents throughout the water, so it can boost you further and stuff. I can only imagine what, especially since this is Gorilla, so it's definitely a game that has had the PS5 for a long time and the DualSense. So they're gonna like just have that down.
This is especially given the fact that the major the thing about the game is the archery. Like it's tailored for the PS5.
Oh my god, yes.
Like just with just like all the archery stuff and with all those other things, it's tailor made for this kind of console.
Yeah. I'm watching it right now. That trailer, fuck, it looks so good. Bringing back some fucking old characters, and there are these raiders that are on the robot dinosaurs and stuff. Oh my god.
What's the release date on that?
So no official release date, but expected this fall, both on PS4 and PS5.
But Ratchet and Clank's soon, right?
Ratchet and Clank is June 11th, I believe.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks or so.
2 weeks. All right.
Yeah. Or maybe that's a different date that I wasn't supposed to say. But June.
I knew it was soon, though. I figured it was June. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I got the impression it was supposed to be June. Yeah.
Sure.
Ratchet and Clank was definitely a Q3 release. Just how soon into it is the question mark.
Are we in Q2 right now?
Yeah, Q2.
We're just coming out of it.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway,
we'll be entering.
That's another game that I'm really excited for. I'm gonna actually stop this trailer.
It looks really slick. Like Ratchet and Clank actually looks really slick. I loved the original Ratchet and Clank series, and I've been waiting for like another iteration. And when they announced it, it was like, well, yeah.
Apparently you can switch between the two different realities like on the fly.
Yeah.
So that's
cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the load technology is amazing. I mean, I'm not really into Ratchet and Clank for no reason at all. I mean, I just never played them. I have nothing against them at all. Okay. So I know they're great games. So I know they're really solid. And yeah, just the technology though, from like when they showed the load time, how smooth it was. I mean, that alone makes me want to play it. And I actually have a friend who didn't get the PS4, but wants to get a PS5 just for Ratchet and Clank. And I think that's a correct assessment. I think Ratchet and Clank is that kind of like Final Fantasy VII type, like you get the system for that game, because I think Ratchet and Clank is going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think people forget that Sony was like the undisputed king of 3D platformers, essentially. Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter,
Spyro.
And what's one? I can't remember the other one.
That's another one. I would love a new Jak and Daxter game. Like I really like those games.
Who made those games? What's that?
I don't know.
It's Ready at
I just loved
Dawn.
it.
Insomniac is Ratchet and Clank.
Was Ratchet.
And Jak and Daxter.
Yeah, that one I don't remember.
Is that also Insomniac?
I think it was.
Jak and Daxter
Probably.
and Ratchet and Clank are the same universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine it would be the same company.
Jak and Daxter was Naughty Dog.
Oh yeah. That's why it showed up. It showed up in the Uncharted games.
It makes sense.
Same with Crash Bandicoot, right?
And I mean, like, they know how to make platformers. They did.
What was those games? Those
Crash
little
Bandicoot.
games. Yeah. By the way, apparently, Uncharted 4 is going to PC. They're just starting to put all of the PlayStation games up on PC just to get more money.
3 years later.
Has it only been 3? It feels like 5. I feel like it's been longer.
What's time?
I like Uncharted.
Time 4. Is an illusion anyway.
Uncharted 4 was really good.
Time is an illusion, and you know why time is an illusion is because you have a biscuit in your head, and they're just gonna take it out.
No, it was a cookie. It wasn't a biscuit.
Oh, sorry, biscuit cookie is the same thing. And
you watched the British version of Black Mirror.
Yeah. So you know what that means. We're going into happy time. Happy time. Yeah. We're gonna talk about Black Mirror.
You keep using that word, but I don't think you know what it means.
Nope, that's not the right term. So, Black Mirror is the British dystopian science fiction anthology series created by Charlie Brooker.
God damn it.
Yep, it examines modern society, particularly with regards to the unanticipated consequences of new technology. I think that's pretty accurate. In that assessment,
I'd say so.
Yeah, I have some additions that'll probably come slurred as we talk, but yes, sure.
Yeah, but I recall Charlie Brooker. He was a writer who decided to, like an actual journalist reporter who decided to make Black Mirror because of he would be covering technology and stuff. So he decided to branch out, eventually making Black Mirror. This is a show that I believe Markus and Steve both didn't watch before, right?
I watched a tiny little bit. I did actually see the original season, just the first 2. I actually didn't watch the 3rd episode, so I didn't see the whole thing. And then I actually kept collecting them with the intention of watching them, but I think when was that? 2013?
2011 is when it originally came out.
Oh my God, 2011? That's like 10 years ago?
Yep.
So that's when my problems began 10 years ago, because I kind of stopped watching a lot of things in general. And
it also wasn't in North America.
It wasn't in North America until
it was on the BBC, so you couldn't
Yeah.
watch it here. We didn't get it.
Yeah.
It was on Netflix.
I had ways, but the thing is, I always intended to watch it because I think my initial reaction, we'll discuss it. There wasn't any Twilight Zone or Creep Show or any of that revival just yet. So it was the only thing to sort of fill that void, because I was going through this whole phase of horror anthologies, and I just love Twilight Zone, right? So I watched Tales from the Crypt, that type of thing, right? I love anthology horror. And so this was like, oh man, it's like new modern stuff, right? And yeah, I saw the first one, National Anthem, which we'll probably talk about, and then the second one I don't remember. And I was like, yeah, this is like solid BBC short film stuff, right? Like they do a season, which they, it's just 3 episodes, and they'll call that a season. But you know what? I don't care. It's like 3 mini movies. Right?
They call it a series.
Yeah.
Well,
not a season.
It's quality, right? Yeah. And I was blown away by it. But I think even back then, I didn't know it then, but I think there was something kind of going wrong with me, and I probably knew not to finish the season, and I never really picked it up again until Eric suggested it last week. And
that was David. That was 2 weeks ago.
Fine.
Time is a flat circle.
Time is an illusion.
You're all bad people. That's all. That was my point.
I never claimed to be anything else.
Matt is not a bad person. He actually wanted to prevent this.
I knew what was going to happen.
Ago. So Matt gets a pass.
To be fair,
and Markus does, because he's a victim. So
speaking of victim number 2,
you two, this guy is bad.
How did you hear about Black Mirror?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, victim number 2, yes.
When it popped out on Netflix, and it just showed up, and I was like, what the fuck is Black Mirror? And I just ignored it for a while. And then somebody was like, oh, you need to check out Black Mirror. I was like, oh, okay. And they were just like, it's kind of messed up though. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I just wasn't in a headspace for it. So I just didn't watch it. And then it just kept showing up, and it kept being there. And I just kept being like, oh, I should probably watch that at some point. And I never bothered to, because I had other things that I was already interested in watching. And then I met you assholes, and you came here and you said, guys, we're going to do an episode about this show Black Mirror. And I'm like, oh, well, I haven't seen it. I guess I'll watch it now. Mm-hmm. And you lulled me in with the what is it? Junipero.
Junipero.
Which I still have not watched all the way through.
You lulled me in with a nicer episode that I actually kind of thought was like, oh, this is kind of cool. That's neat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then you fucking destroyed my soul. Then you just...
That was Hawk.
Wait, what did you watch second?
I followed the order that was
Shut Up and
the
Dance.
list that you guys...
Shut up and dance.
No.
We went backwards that season.
Oh my god.
Now, here's the worst part.
Amazing.
My wife decided she wanted to watch these with me.
No.
Why would you?
We watched the first one and we were like, that's kind of neat. Let's watch the second one.
Oh my god.
You broke my wife. You broke my wife.
So she
won't
didn't get
watch
the
it.
Striking Vipers, is what you're saying.
No, and she will not watch any more of this.
That's fair.
Nor should she.
No.
No.
Although Hang the DJ, I think she would like.
No,
I'm not-
no,
I'm-
okay.
I'm not-
Look,
It's like
sorry,
San
Marcus,
Junipero.
keep going. Look,
Kind of.
Eric,
Okay,
keep saying that San Junipero and Hang the DJ are happy episodes, but I
No,
don't
it's not-
think
it's-
you.
No, they're
Go
lighter
ahead, Marcus, go
episodes.
ahead.
Okay, San Junipero is not a happy episode, but it's an interesting concept that doesn't leave me feeling destroyed. It doesn't suck my soul away and make me question whether my hands are fucking real.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else I watched either made me question my own reality or just made me feel kind of sick about humanity in general. It was upsetting. And I watched them all at once.
No, I said not to do
Yeah,
that.
no. We had said do not watch these all at the same time.
Well, I missed
Yeah,
that
they
message,
did.
guys.
We said it
did
3
say it.
times.
They did say it. I will give them credit for that. And I dragged my ass. I had 2 weeks to do this, and I watched them all in 3 days.
Oh,
Well, I
That's my fault.
had 3 days to catch up on this whole thing, and
Yeah, so we both did the same
okay.
thing.
Nope, that.
oh,
I will
by the
say,
time
Hang the DJ is an episode where you don't.
That's you.
What really?
now what I also did was when I got home, I watched Metalhead
Oh yeah.
because of just Steve's comment today, and it wasn't as soul crushing as the
say?
other ones.
No, it's not as bad.
Yeah, no, it
it's
is.
still
No.
bad, but
What
it's
did I
not
say?
as bad.
I have no idea. I was
But
just doing shit the last.
Steve, you said that it wasn't as soul crushing as some of.
Oh
the
yeah,
other
yeah.
ones.
Okay.
That's
All
true.
right. Yeah, it's
I-
a straight up
um,
like thriller.
to be
I mean,
To be fair,
Yeah.
Hawk picked the most soul crushing one.
Which one was Hawk's pick again?
Shut Up and Dance.
Oh
Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah,
That was
like that
awful.
one's horrible.
no, National
So-
Anthem's the most. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's
no,
that was
that was a
without
different reason.
doubt
That's
the
a-
worst episode of the entire series.
Here's the
Okay,
thing about
but-
me. I will defend that
Good to know.
episode when we get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. I'm gonna go with how I got introduced, and then I'm gonna bring in Matt and David. So for me, I heard about this show back in 2011 when it actually first premiered, because a bunch of online things I had read had said to watch it. Like, it's the first episode had just premiered, and they're like, you have to see the show because it's fucked up. And then I watched the show, and I was like, I know someone who needs to watch the show. And I texted Matt Moore. I was like, Matt Moore, you need to watch the show.
Yeah.
Because it's a show that
One episode had come out. It was the only episode of the series that had been
no.
released.
Yep.
And this janky son of a bitch says, you got to check this show and it's fucked up. I'm like, okay, how bad could it be? Cut to 3 hours later.
yeah, it's fucked up. Like,
Because you sent me a link for a show that had that happen.
but it was, yeah.
That caused all this.
You see this guy here, right? He's always smiling and laughing, but you know, it's just it's a ruse, man.
See, you guys at least had a buffer of knowing that there were multiple episodes.
Mm.
This was literally the only context for this show I had.
I think
was
at
the first episode.
But I kept on
No.
downloading the episodes as they aired.
Yeah.
So we got to
No,
see
I
them
did the
moving
same
forward. Yeah, so that's how my introduction was, and I guess Matt Moore's introduction to the show.
Yep.
David,
Yep.
how were you introduced to the show?
I don't remember when I caught it. I think it was on Netflix. But I had a friend who we always gave each other like TV and movie recommendations. He's like, watch Black Mirror. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I watched the first episode and I went, what the fuck? what? He goes, oh, it's like an anthology show. Like the first one's bad, just keep watching. So I was like, okay, I'm really trusting you here. And then I watched the second episode. Oh, this is a good show. Just the whole thing, like, we would get other people to watch it and be like, don't watch the first episode. Eventually go back and watch the first episode, but don't start with the first episode because it will make you think this is a different kind of fucked up show. But I know a lot of this guy's other work because I watched Dead Set back in, like, he did Dead Set, which is Big Brother Zombie.
Dead Set.
Amazing.
Amazing.
He was a writer on Brass Eye, and he appeared on Brass Eye, which Brass Eye was a fake, like, kind of like 2020 or 60 Minutes news show with I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who played Mr. Denham in the first season of IT Crowd as like a serious investigative journalist. And if I'm not mistaken, the episode that got that show basically canned was about pedophiles, and Charlie Brooker wrote that episode as well, I think. And that show was like, they got Brass Eye was really good. If you've never seen it, you can find it in like 180p quality or whatever on YouTube. It's terrible. But it's really funny. Like, like, oh my God.
Fair.
That's from 2001. So I just kept like, I liked it. I was like, I'm into this. Watching this stuff doesn't get to me, doesn't bother me. I love it. I love how like just fucked up and twisted.
I'm the same, unfortunately.
Like, I don't really like horror movies, but I like this shit.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So I had a thought. I'm just going to put it out there before I forget, because I don't know how many gin and tonics I'm going to have. But I love horror. And I know a lot of people are always a little bit queasy about horror because they think it's all negative, it's all just slashy and gore. But I like to look at it more philosophically. Like, it's about facing fears and, like, and like really like embracing things that make you uncomfortable and like and seeing your way through, So I like to look at it from sort of like a meta, higher level, And I guess maybe I have a high tolerance for certain things that most people, like negative feelings and things that people don't really want to be embracing. And I get that. I'm not saying that's not a comment. That's just me. Like I guess I like to test certain boundaries. But I just wanted to say before I forget, I wanted to congratulate you guys who like this show, because you are obviously in a better place relationship wise than I am, because as much of a masochist, because I think I am a horror movie masochist, I have definitely watched things I would not recommend to anybody, like really fucked up shit, okay? The fact that you can enjoy Black Mirror and even say that the happy episodes are happy is a testament to your success in life, because you have achieved some level of consistency with relationships and loneliness that I have not. Because you can just look at this and just go, that's hilarious, like, man, it would suck if I was going to die alone, like in a cosmic simulation. This is funny because I at least have a good relationship and I'm alive. I know this. I don't know these things, right? You can't take that for granted, okay? So that's all I wanted to say. Congrats. I'm happy for you. That is fantastic. Good job, guys.
I think I started rewatching the show before the pandemic hit with my girlfriend. Be like, oh, you got to watch this. And I think we started with Striking Vipers.
That's a good one to start.
That's not a bad one to start with.
I was going to say,
some context.
The best comparison I can make was back around, I think a little earlier. No, it was after this came out. There was a series that was released called Masters of Horror.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. There was basically all these, And I was going to say, Eric saying to me, Matt, you have to watch this show. Watch this episode. It's fantastic. To me, was the equivalent of someone saying, oh, you like horror movies? There's a series called Masters of Horror. Watch this movie, Imprint. It'll be great. Which, for those of you that don't know, was the Takashi Miike episode of Masters of Horror, which was banned before it was ever released.
Yep.
Because it was so Takashi Miike.
So graphic.
Yeah. Like just disturbingly scary.
I think my evolution of, like, when I was young, I watched a shit ton of Twilight Zone, and then that eventually turned into Outer Limits, and I just loved all of that type of stuff. Like,
I was going to make a comment about that too. Sorry, keep going with the Takashi Miike. I'm just going to put a pin in that Twilight Zone thing. Sorry.
And Outer Limits. And then ended up liking Creepshow and all of those types of shows. And I think that this was just like an eventual like going up in
not,
the
well, no, man. Okay, I'm going to talk about that, but just Matt, go ahead.
If you do the like, I can actually understand if you go through the old Twilight Zone. If you go through that whole arc of Twilight Zone through to the Outer Limits, like the old, I'm talking about the old Outer Limits, not the newer, the 90s.
I did both
Fox
older and the newer one as well.
Yeah, like all the 90s Fox revivals of those were dog water, but the early stuff, that progression from like Twilight Zone through to Outer Limits, it can set you up so at least you are slightly more prepared for the kind of stuff you see in Black Mirror. Not entirely, because realistically, nothing can prepare you for, especially if you watch the show chronologically, nothing prepares you for the series. But at least if you kind of go through that whole television progression, it gets you to a mindset where you're more able to comprehend the absolute insane fuckery that happens on screen.
I agree. So I'm going to lighten the air a little bit right here. From Twitch. What is the richest kind of air?
Huh? The richest kind of air?
This is a joke from our Twitch chat. What is the richest kind of air?
I don't know.
A millionaire. There you go. Davenport D1 is in the chat giving us little jokes. So, yes. Before we move on forward, Hawk is hopefully going to be on in a couple minutes, so he will talk about his episodes. We'll skip them.
Okay.
All right. Well, let me just say about. Sorry, Marcus. Did you want to go?
I do, but at the same time, I don't.
Oh wait, one more thing before you go. One more thing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when I texted Matt Moore, I think me and you were doing a show at the time, and I think I might have said you should watch Black Mirror. I'm pretty sure I said that to you too, Marcus.
You did.
What show was it? When
2011, probably.
2011.
2011.
Producers.
It was, it was 2011 would have been Rent.
Rent was 2009.
Was it? Oh, and 11 would have been producers.
So this insidious behavior goes back at least a decade.
That would have been producers then.
Absolutely
Either way.
Wow.
I know if that's the case, I'm pretty sure you would have. And I think my response to Marcus would have been, "Don't do it. Just don't do it." Or alternatively, you would have seen my reaction to it, and that would have told you not to watch it.
I would have seen Matt Moore holding a smoke, going.
To be fair,
and then that would have.
If
been
it was during the producers, we were probably all sort of out of it.
We were all in bad mindsets at different points.
I mean, a lot of those years are just a blur for me, anyways. But that's
me too.
Before I forget, because we're waiting for Hawk, or at least we'll give him. I'm going to give him a couple more minutes. Just because it might not come up. So not only do you guys have achieved a certain level of comfort and relatability to humans and other people, and have really solid relationships, which I think is admirable. You see, the Twilight Zone thing doesn't really work, right? Because that was sort of my initial feeling, right? I was saying, like, there hadn't been a Twilight Zone, there hadn't been a Tales from the Crypt for a long time, which is why I was immediately interested in the show. But I think upon watching the 7 or 8 episodes that I have watched over the last 3 days, I think the difference, and I don't know whether this accounts for Outer Limits or not, but the difference with Twilight Zone is the stories are basically moral stories, right? Just sort of general, like, what's good, what's bad, just desserts kind of thing, right? And that's why it's sort of satisfying. The 70s horror anthology, right? You see someone doing something bad and then they get screwed, right? And it's just a nice pattern, right? The thing is, the central conceit, in my opinion, based, like, you had that description that you read before for Black Mirror, but what I would say Black Mirror is really about is that we're all alone and we really don't know anything, and being an adult is hard. And I would rename the show Midlife Crisis Adulting Sucks and is Scary. That's what I would call Black Mirror.
Do you know why it's called Black Mirror?
Yeah, I know. Okay. And,
why don't you explain, David, for the audience?
Sure, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
always
it's about
staring at you.
technology. It's about technology and how it affects us. But I would say the larger scope of it is actually about adult fears, about relationships, about being an adult. And yeah, like I said, for those of you who are not as stable and as happy, I don't recommend the show at all, because it is it's the worst kind of horror. You got to face like the reality that like technology, which features into every episode, actually won't help you. It will just reveal to you how alone you are and just how much everything sucks. So anyway, I don't remember what my point was, but my point was that the central conceit.
Black Museum, did he?
No, I didn't.
No, I did not recommend that one.
Of Black Mirror is different from Twilight Zone, because at least Twilight Zone exists in a simple sort of moral equation. There's an equal balance, whereas Black Mirror is always empty no matter what. Even the happy episodes.
See, and this is why I said, like, because Outer Limits is one of those shows where it is literally, not literally, but it is the best stepping stone between the two, because it's Outer Limits is not just everything's awful. We're all an island unto ourselves and we're going to remain that way.
Sure.
But it's also not here's a 30-second installment that's going to teach you a moralistic story and the good end good and the bad end bad. It has those instances where good ends bad and bad ends well, but there's always a notable, when the twist happens, there's a twist that usually is preventable, but because of someone's
hubris, I think, more or less,
because of hubris or just general failings as a human,
sure,
causes it's very cause and effect. Whereas like with Twilight Zone was always very much there's a moralistic tale, and the moral is the core of it. Outer Limits is all about if you're going to be a shitty person, shitty things will happen to you. And if you're going to be a good person, sometimes shitty things will happen to you anyways, but it's always because of something else. Like it's
sure. There's a bit of a cosmic horror. Yeah. There's a bit of,
so it is very much that sort of that middle ground between something like Black Mirror and Twilight Zone, where it's not all, pardon the pun, black and white, but it's not all just bleak.
Yeah.
Existential crisis.
Black Mirror is more like the horrors of technology, where Outer Limits was like the horrors of many different things. It could be like nature.
It could be, there's more sci-fi. It really was
aliens,
more sci-fi.
Whatnot. But yeah, like Black Mirror definitely talks about how it helps. I don't know why I said helps, but it makes you look at technology in a different light. And I think that was what Charlie Brooker sort of wanted to do.
It shows you the absolute extremes that this technology could go to. The part that gets really scary about it is that show came out and started in 2011, and 10 years later, it's still a relatable show, and that's the part.
And some
for
of the
me
stuff
that
is sort of true.
And that's the part for me that is more terrifying, is the fact that not only is it relatable, but it's almost prophetic.
So one of the things that you guys, I think it was Matt, you just said it's about technology and the dangers and like what it can do, and like that's what makes it scary and everything. But really, that's what makes it upsetting and disturbing. But really, to me, it's the human factor to all of the stories, or at least most of the stories. Like it's technology, but we can't blame technology. We are the ones that made it technology. Really, what upsets me the most from all these episodes is people seemingly are willing to just say, "Oh yeah, fuck it." It's the humans giving up. It's the humans just losing their shit. It's the human element that drives me crazy for these episodes. And I loved Twilight Zone, and I loved Outer Limits, and I loved Tales from the Crypt. I loved Tales from the Crypt, still do. And like all those kind of anthologies, I love them all. And yes, some episodes you have that learn a lesson kind of feeling. Some are just plain old like someone was left buried alive and that's it. I think it's a Tales from the Crypt one that I remember from my childhood, like watching.
Sure. What was it?
The person where they get stuck in their brain and they're dead or they're not actually dead, but they think they're dead, and then they cut them up and put them in. I love that episode. It's an upsetting ending. But it didn't bother me. It didn't upset me. These endings upset me because there's a high basis in reality, and you can imagine your neighbor being that person and stuff. So and it's not that because like I don't want to blame the show and say, oh, the show's terrible, because it's not. It's a great show. It's the context. It's the subject matter just is so upsetting and just defeating to me that I can't actually enjoy it. Or at least I can't enjoy all of it. I can enjoy parts of it. No, like I said, I didn't expect to watch Metalhead. I watched it and I thought it was actually kind of cool. It's not a happy ending. It's very upsetting as well. Yeah. But at least that one was kind of like, oh, it's filmed in black and white. It's cool.
The focus of it wasn't as like, I mean, when you think about it, it counts as a Black Mirror ending. You know, like when you get to the end of it, it does count as that. Because it's just fucking bleak, because that's Black Mirror. But I mean, the thing is, I agree. The thing is, just to broaden it a little bit, I feel like, like 10 years ago when I kind of stopped watching television, I mean, not only was it sort of like maybe a personal thing that was going on, but I sort of feel like not even just with Black Mirror, I just think with television in general, there was this weird, like, like with Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad, like you just have a lot of bad people behaving badly television. Right? Like just a lot of like people just being real shit. And I just kind of wasn't really into it. Like I know it's been really popular to watch really horrible things happen to people, but that's just this weird trend that I've noticed in television. So I'm not being like high and mighty. It wasn't for me, but it just, Black Mirror wasn't the only show that was like kind of like going full negative. And I totally agree with you, Marcus. I think there is a difference between Twilight Zone and Black Mirror, because Black Mirror is absolutely hopeless. Like even the happy episodes, which we'll get to if we ever get to them,
we will.
I don't even think are that happy. Like that's why I'm like really like annoyed at Eric, because I don't think the happy episodes are happy at all. I think they're still existential nightmares.
They're melancholic at best. Usually,
there's a nihilism that is just, you know what? The technology doesn't fucking matter, right? Like I know that the show is about Black Mirrors, but it isn't, because the central conceit of Black Mirror is we're all alone and we're going to die fucking alone. That is every single fucking episode. And unless you have a rock solid relationship in real life, this is a horrendous show, okay? Because nobody really knows, right? Like you don't really know that anybody really exists ever. So, Hawk, you joined at the perfect time during the middle of my rant. So I don't know. This is just how I react to the show, because I obviously do not have a healthy situation in my life, So that's me, so to speak, into where I'm at. But that's kind of my interpretation of it. I just feel that the show just the central theme of it isn't even really the technology. It's just a really cynical notion of life. And I can kind of relate. And it sucks. Anyway, I've said enough. Well, you have a healthy relationship. It means you've made it. You've made it to level 10. I'm only level 1. That's a difference. I'm like fucking at the bottom here. I'm like, holy shit, this is totally gonna happen to me. I'm gonna die alone and screaming in a simulation. Actually, after around the 3rd episode, I started to think, holy shit, these assigned friends, like really like assigned episodes that were like a little bit too on the nose, It's like pointing out a little bit too much that we're in a simulation, but maybe they did it on purpose. Hey, Hawk.
Red pill or blue pill?
I don't remember exactly who recommended it to me in that. I know I had to download it, the first episodes in that, because there was no streaming service at the time the way I did. National Anthem was my first introduction to it, and it may have been the description of the show that got me into seeking it out. Yeah, like I said, the circumstances behind me finding it, I just can't remember, and I think watching the episode and that was enough for me. The episode became the prime focus. It's like the story just stayed with me, and how I got there just didn't seem to matter anymore. Yeah, but that's the thing, is that if it was merely the shock value of the ending that we drew us to it, and that it was the layering of the story and that, and how it proceeded, that really kept us going in that, and in the rest of the series and that too. If it was,
That's consistent.
I'm sorry about that. So basically, I was saying, when I first introduced people to Black Mirror, we were all sort of like, what the fuck? Where's this going to go? And that was a bit of the morbid curiosity. Then we went to 15 Million Merits, and then it sort of just barreled on from there. gone over.
No. Like what Hawk was saying is like, yeah, and what you were saying too is like after the first episode, we were all kind of wondering like, where's this thing gonna go, you know? And it you know, as Hawk said, it was the layering of these stories and the sort of the substantial weight of it that is fairly consistent. I mean, I can definitely say that is the sort of the overbearing weight of all these episodes. It's very mindful of where it pulls its horror. I don't know if that's the right word, but its weight from, and that's very consistent. I mean, you know, having now seen like 7 episodes in a row, which I don't recommend for anybody. We
don't recommend that either.
Yeah, it's very consistent. Yeah, no, I'm not taking recommendations from David or Eric anymore. I'm just
Hawk too. I want to go off for the people that had watched the first season. Before we go into the episode, sorry. The first season was in 2011, and we had National Anthem, 50 Million Merits, and the entire history of you. And I remember back then, like there was a whole big hubbub about politics on TV, Twitter, which is 15 million merits pretty much. And then the entire history of you was Facebook, because we had started cataloging everything. And there was a lot of talk about that. I wonder if that added to the popularity of the show at the time.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Definitely added a frightening layer in that with Twitter and like that, the instant response in that, and the way like, you know, politics is driven by it now. It reminds me of this. There was some experiment some U.S. president tried to do in that. It was legislating by poll, you know, where it's like each topic would, you know, get like, have the people like of the nation like
a
vote
referendum.
On it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you could not legislate like that. You know, this is why people elect leaders, because like when everybody has a say in where it goes and that, then you know, and this is one of the things the show does masterfully.
Yeah. So let's go into the actual episodes we picked. We picked about 4 or 5, and then we had a bunch of runners-ups that we'll mention near the end. I'm going to talk about mine first, which was San Junipero. This episode aired October 21st in 2016. It is the 4th episode of the 3rd season. Basically, the reason I chose this episode was A, we needed it a little bit lighter. 2, I thought it was a really good episode, both technology-wise and the relationship between Yorkie and Kelly I thought was, you know, sweet. And basically what happens is that... you know, we're going to go into spoilers, everyone who's listening. Yep. So
spoilers.
Here we go. Basically, the premise of this episode is that there's this place, San Junipero, and these two people meet and they fall in love, basically. If not lust at first, but definitely, I think for Yorkie, it ends up becoming love. And we find out through the course of the episode that these two people were actually elder people who had been close to death. So San Junipero was this technology where they would transfer your not memories,
consciousness,
your consciousness into a computer where you can live on from that point, and you get to go through different eras. And in the end, Kelly ends up choosing to stay with Yorkie in San Junipero, and that's how it ended. What did you guys think of this episode when you saw it?
I just want to say this. In the order that you guys told me to watch these things, that was the first one to watch. Mm-hmm. And while I knew Black Mirror was based in technology and stuff like that, I guess I just wasn't thinking, and it started, and I was just like, the fuck is going on? How are they hopping to different time eras? Like for some reason, my brain just was not comprehending what I was watching at first. And my poor wife was just like, what is this? Because she had no idea what Black Mirror was at all. And that's what we started with. But then quickly I was just like, oh, okay, I get it. It's like they're playing GTA Online, but for old people. That's kind of how I felt it was, really. But this was a better episode. Still has a little bit of tragicness to the ending, but slightly happy, and really at the end of it, me and her were both still just like, this is a cool show, can't wait to watch the rest.
There's so many questions that come up from that episode.
But I did like it, and like, of course, as soon as the episode ended, the first thing my wife did was turn to me and say, "Would you do that? Would you go into a world like that and everything?" And like, without missing a beat, I was like, "Yep, I'd do it. I would take the program."
I agree. I would also.
You would accept the Matrix?
I would accept the Matrix, especially for what it is.
Especially since you have the option to turn it off. Like Kelly and Yorkie talk about. You can just, and
you don't have to be here. You don't have to stay here forever. And, you get to kind of control yourself. Like, instead of, a frail, dying person in a bed, they got to be their younger selves, or like a better version of themselves, what they always wanted to be, or maybe what they missed being. So I like that whole aspect of it and everything. And again, for all the things, once we get past this episode, for all the things that I'm going to say that bothered me about the other episodes, one thing I can say is everything, like, the show is really well done. The storytelling is fantastic, and it's a good product that they have made. Like, the show itself is well done. Every episode that I watched was well done. It was just upsetting. But this one was probably the coolest one for me, and I really liked it. And I also just love the spot onness of some of the time eras, even if they were kind of farcical at their heart and everything.
Because they were farcical in real life, to be fair.
Yeah. The 90s, the Canadian 90s, which was the US 80s.
Nice.
Any other thoughts on San Junipero?
Oh, you mean just open?
Yeah, it's open.
I don't know, Hawk.
Go Steve. Or Hawk. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go Hawk.
Yeah, what really impressed me throughout the show, actually, from a lot of episodes, is how mindful it is of technology and what's going on in the world around them. And that, and, a lot of what we're seeing in the advanced healthcare industry with the elderly, and that is the introduction of more electronics and computers into their daily lives. And, iPads and the Wii U was the Wii's were getting really popular with old folks and that. So I mean, this technology they're using, it's just right around the corner. That I loved how it did have this kind of a theological, philosophical debate about, should they, dump their consciousness into a computer and that, because I didn't remember them being able to turn it off once it had been done. And that
it was a small conversation.
Yeah, they do say that it's an option. Yeah.
Yeah. But it does explore the prospect of like an eternal life, even if it's not really your body in that, but it is your mind, and I love that dark overtone in that about what it would be like living out a life like that for what could be forever. And that, you see what some people turn to in that, just in order to feel something different.
Yeah, straight to debauchery and crazy. Sorry, Steve,
Yeah, no, see, that's the thing. Like, I mean, when you said that this was the happy episode or the light episode, I was like, I don't know. I'm just in a weird place, like, compared to you guys. I mean, you guys are a much better, much more comfortable place, because if you can just so easily write off, like, what Hawk was just hinting at, that just, like, eternal life and religion and all these things are all kind of like secondary decisions. It's just like, oh, yeah, eternal life in the 80s. That'd be awesome. I mean, yeah, on the surface, I'd go for that, right? Or whatever time period you choose, because you can switch around, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like the fact that it was Kelly, right, who wasn't so keen, like she was, her reasons really made sense though, right? Because her husband had just missed that moment when he could have become part of it, right? So
he also didn't want to, right?
Like sure, that's true. That's true. Yeah, he made that decision, and they had lived that whole life. And I mean, that was a really interesting and very important component of the story, And I think that's what elevates this episode beyond like a typical, what you think of as television, which is why Black Mirror is so renowned. It was able to like take a element of real life, real consequential stuff that you just can't ignore, like if you really have lived a life with somebody, and the implications of that. And yeah, like I said, I mean, for whatever reason, I just feel uncomfortable with shit like that because I guess I just don't really like looking at my real life, like body swapping and like existential alien nightmares. I'm like totally cool with, Solarius and Under the Skin, no problem.
Yeah, didn't you like Altered Carbon? Like this episode is a lot.
I actually haven't seen Altered Carbon.
Oh, like Altered Carbon is a much like this. It doesn't play as much, but like. I don't know. You probably like the show, and it deals with some of the same themes, but it's a noir story rather than focusing on the existential and the part of like, hey, what's stream of consciousness? And is that important here? Because if my body dies and I'm in there, is it still me?
Yeah, see, that sort of stuff, I guess, I don't know. I was a philosophy major, and again, maybe I'm not in a really good place, but that sort of stuff, I just can't write off that easily, So, yeah, so that episode was fucked, man. I don't know. I don't know why you think that was a fun episode, but I don't know. That wasn't a happy ending, in my opinion. I mean, I guess it's kind of happy, but
see, I look at it like in the same kind of way, like a couple has their life, and then one day, a husband passes away and the widow is left around. If she meets somebody else, and even if they only have a couple of years, that makes them happy and everything. Now, if a husband had passed and then that widow found somebody, and you knew like, well, I would love to be happy with you for the next little bit until I do pass away. But what if that didn't have to happen? You could just keep that happiness going, and you could keep that life going. Why wouldn't you take that? Why wouldn't you want to do that? That's, to me, it's very similar.
I get it. No, I get it. And I understand why they made those decisions. I don't know. I'm just not in as good a place as you guys. That's why I said at the very beginning, congratulations, man. You guys are all in a much better place in life than I am. That's all. I'm not saying that as a joke. I'm saying that genuinely, like, because I get it. Like, if one could genuinely find that person that they just know absolutely is the right person and could spend eternity with them, why wouldn't they? I get that.
Yeah.
But do you understand how many times I pause saying that sentence? And that's the difference, right? I'm not in that same position that you guys are at, I suppose. I think that's the difference, right? So to me, it's still existential fucking horror, okay? Like, I think you got anyone who can watch this show overall, like, I'm going to just say this now because I'm going to get really drunk by the end. Black Mirror, if you can enjoy this, you're in a really good place, and you should recognize that. So don't be unhappy with your life, because you're like light years ahead of where I'm. Holy shit! So anyway, yeah, no, it was a fun episode, but yeah, I can kind of see, like, that's all I was thinking about. I was just like, holy shit, I'm not mentally well. I'm watching this episode. I'm like, this is supposed to be happy.
I don't think no, it's not happy, but they're just. It's good. A lot of it's just like it's good enough, right? Like,
I think this was the one that made me smile at the end because I was
happy for them.
the two characters, and I
was happy for them. Yeah. No, especially because of how far both of them had to come. Right? Yeah. Like, I get that. No, it's a beautiful story. I do recommend this story. It's a really beautiful thing. I don't want anyone to be turned off by it. But I guess I'm just I got to catch up. I'm behind because I'm happy for you guys, but it begs a lot of questions for me. That's I guess what I'm saying.
I found this to be the most boring episode out of all of them. Like, I'm genuinely I couldn't finish it. I was just like, yeah, what? I don't care. I'm like, you want to stick your brain in a computer and do sure, whatever, man. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't whatever. Like,
yeah. See, I can at least appreciate how other people. Sorry, go ahead.
For me, it was the backstory for Mackenzie Davis's character in that she was this woman who never even really got to live her life in that, and yet was kept alive through these like artificial means and that well into her 70s. And the fact that this technology came along and was able to kind of give her a glimpse into that life she could have led.
No, that is amazing. Yeah.
Matt Moore, any thoughts on this before I do my finals? No. I think he might be frozen.
I think he's frozen.
It's very contemplative.
He's trapped in the Black Mirror.
That's fair.
The horror.
I think what's interesting right now is that, like Hawk was saying, the technology with older folks right now.
Can you hear me right?
Yes, we can.
That's why I was worried.
Maybe you should take off your video and then.
Okay.
Chunk.
Sorry, I was going to say.
Oh no.
Well, no,
Wait.
I was trying to.
He's
So
switching.
much better.
No, it's just like an episode of Black Mirror.
Can you still hear me?
Now we can hear you. There you go. There
No,
you go. Yeah,
maybe?
yeah.
Yes,
That's
we
better.
can hear you.
Better with just your
Can
profile
he
picture.
hear us? Is the question.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You can.
My Wi-Fi is literally. I can hear you.
Okay.
My Wi-Fi is crapping out. I may have to duck out of the call, unfortunately, because I
That's
don't
totally
know.
cool.
I have to reset the router.
Yeah. If you want,
And
you
keep
can
in
just come
mind,
back.
Matt is not calling
I don't know.
from a war zone right now. Matt is calling from Canada,
But
fully developed nation.
What is
within
Canada?
a
our,
house.
even
our
real, I
internet
don't
is
know.
terrible in Canada, to be fair.
Whatever.
Ojiko
just
is
Wi-Fi is
dog
the
water.
problem.
I hate them.
Matt, if you can come back, come
Yes.
back. But if you can't, we'll miss you.
Yeah.
I'll try,
We love you, Matt.
but talk well. I'll try to get back on, but if not, talk well on this.
Oh, we will. We will.
All right, buddy.
Have a good one, man.
Ah,
All right, we're back to the 5 cam. But let me take off our names so that
No, I'm Matt. That's my middle name. You got it wrong.
Yeah, not Matt. So am I talking? Am I talking here?
yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
I can.
You can. Yeah. So 2 things. I was saying that right when I was looking up the Oculus Rift stuff or Oculus Quest stuff before I bought it, there's a lot of research I did into it, and just seeing all of the work they're doing to help older people with like VR, and I thought that was really cool, and this episode really focused that. Another thing which will really tie into the next episode is the use of music in this episode was so well done.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially the song "Heaven Is a Place on Earth," and especially starting and
Yeah.
ending the episode with that. Like most of Black Mirror has like phenomenal
Yeah.
music, but using licensed music in the proper spots is
Yeah.
like masterfully
And being
done.
able to get that license internationally is impressive, because a lot of the times you'll get stuff from somewhere else, and if it has licensed music, it won't be the same. Like on DVD releases and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
We're looking at you, Dawson's Creek. So with that being said, we're gonna move on to season 3, episode 3. Shut Up and Dance. This is Hawk's choice. So I'm gonna let him talk about why he picked this for us, and then we'll discuss.
This one, yeah, because this one I picked because it reminded me of an incident from high school, or from from university. I was taking a
When you were being
literature.
blackmailed?
No, not an incident. It was actually a class. We were studying Gulliver's Travels, and that, it's a book I never, you kind of know a little bit about that book, even though if you haven't read it. So I started reading it, and that didn't finish it, and that it was, anyways. The professor teaching the class was trying to get a point to us about the character of Gulliver, and that how he seemed like an unlikable person in that, and he wasn't very successful as a doctor, even opening up a clinic on a wharf, and that, he didn't seem to get a lot of business in that. Anyways, to get to the point, he was trying to emphasize that Jonathan Swift wrote this character as a pedophile who was trying to escape his, everyday life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't get that, Professor.
I did. He was literally spoon feeding us the facts about this novel, and that he's like, "Don't you see? It's right there in the text." And that just
really
read
likes
between the lines.
He likes the
big,
island
they're
of little
little.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
After I finished this episode, it was the exact same experience. I couldn't see it. I just saw a kid being tortured and that, and then by the time you get to the end, it's like, oh crap.
Yeah. So basically the premise of this movie is a kid is blackmailed because of something he does in front of his webcam, and hackers, record him doing this thing and give him a set of instructions to do
Send
all
him
this
intimate
stuff.
instructions. The fact that there's multiple people that are receiving similar instructions from the same people, and that makes it more terrifying. And the fact that it's technology that is right here, right now, it was one of the most horrifying episodes I'd ever watched, and that because it could happen to you.
Yeah. I remember watching this, and as I watched it, I was like, oh, I feel really bad for all of these people. They're victims of circumstance. They did something stupid. They went to a website and malware got in their computer, and now they're just fucked. And you see each of them like they're all terrified whenever they meet each other. And then as you get through the episode and you find out that they're all bad people, and that these hackers are doing it to troll. I don't want to say troll, but that's basically what they're doing.
It is. Yeah.
Kind of, but it's supposed to be like a comeuppance sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like.
No, but it is ultimately troll because they use the troll face at the end, right? I mean, that's
Do we know what the delivery guy that comes on the bike? Do we know what his thing was?
He was like the second last one. I just don't remember what he was.
Yeah, it wasn't super clear.
I remember
his family
watched,
was yelling at him, but
and calling him disgusting. It had something to do with sex. We don't know what he.
So that's the only one that's kind of unclear at the end as to
everybody
what he actually did.
Yeah, I think the implication is that they all did actually do something wrong because like the lady at the beginning was a racist, right? And then there were 2 pedophiles, and then there was the one
the guy cheating on his wife.
Yeah. So we can assume that the delivery guy also did actually do something wrong. So. Yeah, but
so this is one of the happy episodes.
Yeah.
No.
This was the worst of the ones I watched. I think. Like,
really? Okay, I don't know.
For me, yeah, absolutely. Like this, like it wasn't like because when we get
National
to it,
Anthem though.
No, National Anthem was not the worst one. It was the most disgusting one.
Yep, I agree.
Disgusting and like horrific, upsetting are different things.
Fair
and
enough.
This was the more upsetting. This one was just like heart-wrenchingly awful to watch.
Yeah.
Because again, when we start off the entire time being like these poor people, oh, this is awful. I can because you instantly imagine yourself in that situation. Like, what if something happened, and what if I got caught and I But then you also get to a point where you're like, well, why are they still doing this? Like, surely being caught doing that on webcam isn't actually that bad. Just fess up to it. But when you get to the end and you realize the truth of the matter, that's when things turn for us too, and we're just like, no.
And that might be Black Mirror's nastiest trick, is that the entire episode is spent developing empathy in us for this character, and by the end just pulls that out from underneath you.
Because you're sitting there, you're like, this is just a kid. He's 17 years old.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. No, I mean, these are extremely well scripted, really well crafted stories. I mean, despite my my despondency and not enjoying this social experiment or system check, whatever the fuck this is, it was a really well crafted story for those exact reasons. Yeah, because you don't really know how to feel, but you feel anxious for the whole episode because the kid is just this kid, and you just. But the thing is, even with the context at the end, right? Like, even if you say just dessert, it's still just a really horrifying experience. I mean, I will say this is one of the episodes that I think fulfills the mandate of Black Mirror better than most, because it takes the concept of what technology does and how it changes our relationship with society.
Well, none of the technology in this episode is theoretical either.
Yeah, this is all.
Yeah, exactly.
This is all technically possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, I didn't think of that. Yeah, it is right on target. And so for that reason, you just feel that stress like that entire episode. And like, even the guy who like cheats on his wife, I mean, he did the wrong thing, but you see him like trying to be a decent person by the end because he knows he made a mistake. He knows the kid made a mistake, right? Mm-hmm. And you're just like, well, okay, I feel good for this guy, and then he gets fucked anyway. So it's just it's good. It's good. It's well crafted.
Yeah, but even that decency, that little bit of decency you see in him, and that, I mean, I think that's probably why it's revealed. His offense is revealed first before anybody else is really.
It's the lightest one.
Right. Kind of the lightest one, yeah.
But he didn't even really go through with it, right? I mean,
no. Like he was basically sending.
Could have been something earlier too.
No,
right?
I watched it last night. He was sending pics to his blackmailers. He just didn't know it.
Yeah.
He was setting that whole thing up. Mindy was just the blackmailer.
I feel like this wasn't his first time doing it though, right?
No, I think he was supposed to meet Mindy that specific day. right? And so he actually had not. I don't think Mindy existed.
No.
I think Mindy was.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is that I feel like this isn't like Mindy isn't the first time he's done this.
Oh, okay. Well,
Like-
maybe. I don't know.
He says it was his first time. We don't know for sure in that.
Sure, that's
but
fair.
the one scene where you see that mask of decency slip off is in the car just before, and that when they're deciding who's going to be driver and who's going to be robber, and that the way he just berates that kid into it, and that he knows he can't go in there himself. So he sends the kid in there, and he does a fantastic job berating him into doing it.
And I just want to add again, because again, I'm drunk and I might forget later, but I have to say, these episodes, specifically the ones that are set in England, I don't know why, because I know the show was originally from England, right? Mm-hmm. But like the ones specifically that are actually English, I don't know why, they just feel better to me. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's just something about it being
100%. Of course, the show was technically better before they had the Netflix like production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think they had more money with Netflix, which actually kind of might have led to some like dips where it was like, we can kind of take it easy on some things.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like the same, like they got more episodes and stuff. It's just one of those things where it's like, like the first 3 seasons of the show were the best because of, they were under more pressure and all this, like they wanted it more. That kind of thing.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, BBC's always been very good at producing these like seasons, right? When it's always like 3 episodes.
And then they left it when they're like, 3, good, you're done. That's enough. That's all we needed, right? And then they were like, well, we want more. So Netflix was like, we'll do it. But
I will say the one thing is when they do lean in heavier into effects and like CGI and that in some of the episodes, and that it takes away from the core of the story that they're trying to sell. And that it's like with the ones from England and that like this episode in particular, and that this was completely story driven. So
it's contemporary.
So it's like with less they did a lot more.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, it might be reverse stereotyping, but I just really enjoy it when it just has that setting and it just feels a lot more real for some reason. I don't know.
That's fair.
Maybe not.
Any final thoughts before?
Yeah, I got it.
Go for it.
Does this episode not make anybody else think about Game of Thrones and how, like, by the end you like Jaime Lannister, but at the beginning he tries to murder a child, and you're like, he's a piece of shit through and through. Period. Yep. That man tried to murder a child. You're like, wow, this guy. And then by the end of the show, well, maybe not the end of the show, but the end of the book, you're like, hey, this guy's a pretty good guy. Look, he's honorable. It's like, no. He tried to murder a child. Did we forget? Yep. But it's because it's about empathy. Like, it doesn't matter how bad somebody is; they're still a human being, and you might, and maybe unfortunately, you can connect to these people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm still like, okay, I said this before, but like, 10 years ago, I don't know what the fuck happened, but all the television just ended up being bad people doing bad shit, and I just kind of lost interest because I guess I wasn't in the right place. And I still stand by that. I don't know what's wrong with everybody watching all these shows about assholes.
I just like shows where I just can't stand happy endings all the time, and that's what I like about Black Mirror. Is there's basically never a happy ending.
Yeah, but why watch assholes being assholes? Like
because we're all assholes, Steve.
No,
none of us are good people.
I'm gonna interject here.
We're all just people.
I will interject here.
Some people are worse than others, but we're all just people.
I will say that this episode ended perfectly with Radiohead. Exit
music for a film.
And I will say that I'm pretty sure this is the most terrifying episode for me out of the whole series, all of them, because of how real it is.
Yeah, it was very real. For sure.
We're gonna move on to Playtest, which is another scary episode, especially as someone who does playtests. I am not looking forward to doing my next one, but hopefully it's not like this. David, why'd you pick this episode?
I picked this episode. One, Wyatt Russell's in it. Super good.
Yep, that was cool.
This is a fun episode in my opinion. This is actually a fun. It's very fun. All the little spooks and scares and stuff that they get.
I hate spiders, so.
And then
I love that. All the shit in the house is brilliant.
Yeah, and then I thought like this is maybe the most Twilight episode out of all of them.
Yeah, that's fair.
It feels like it's not. Everything's just there. It's just built well. All the acting's great. I don't look at this one as an existential crisis or anything. This one's just like, hey, stuff goes wrong when you're testing new technology, you know?
I don't know what's wrong with me. Every one of these episodes was an existential crisis for me. So you guys, congratulations. Like I said, you're level 10 human life quality, life choices. That's all I got to say.
So this episode, for those who have not seen it, the synopsis is an American traveler short on cash signs up to test a revolutionary new gaming system, but soon can't tell where the hot game ends and reality begins.
Now, a very quintessential important detail, though, is he's kind of running away from a situation at home, which is important, right? Because his father, who suffered from Alzheimer's, he took care of, and the father has passed away, and he's just decided he just needs to go and make memories for himself before.
But also because he doesn't know how to relate to his mother as well, right?
Yeah. So he's basically he's left with a situation where his mother is still alive, but he just didn't connect with his mother the same way that he did with his dad, and then he lost that relationship with his dad because his dad couldn't even remember him. And just all the horror of that. And then when his father finally passed away, he's like left with like a mother that he just can't connect with. And
this episode works very differently for me because none of that matters to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm pointing out.
None of that plays any role into the show at all because I don't have that empathy at all because I didn't have a dad. So just none of that matters to me.
Well, like I said, you guys have all achieved higher levels than me in just life, and so I'm more susceptible to the horrors of these episodes. So yeah, basically he just something in him decides that he's just got to go and take a European like world trip because I guess he wants to
the family.
He wants to create memories, and do things in life because he saw his father like just disintegrating, And
he worries what's going to happen to him.
Yeah, exactly. And he also, the very important thing is he doesn't want to deal with his mother, right? And like that estrangement, So there's a little bit of a selfish element to it. Well, actually a very important selfish element to it. It's not little. Because he just totally fucking leaves without telling her,
Yeah.
So
that was cruel.
He would never pick up the phone. Like I fucking hate that.
Yeah,
he just cut her off.
That's the central element of that story, really. In the end, right? I mean, that's the whole story in the end, right? But I like this episode. I mean, despite me being horrified by this entire exercise, that one was much more conventional. I would say, like it has that sort of like more Twilight Zone-y type element to it, and. Even though it still has that like really uncomfortable, like, have you actually called your mother like this week kind of thing? I guess I'm not as sensitive to that. It was good. It was good. I mean, I could tell it was like a Resident Evil kind of, analogy, and that was sort of fun.
There's something to be said. There's something to be said about his downfall being if he had called back his mom. Then that signal would not have screwed up with the upload.
It's true.
Well, that's the Twilight Zone twist, just right? It's like if you just one little thing, everything would have been fine.
Or the actual twist in that, he did something very, you think he's a good guy and he's just trying to, live a life in that, but he did a very bad thing in that and it ended up costing him.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's what killed him, right? I mean, like this is the thing. If you really step back for a moment, that is really what killed him because it was the fear and the guilt. Of that just
did he die?
The simulation.
Yes, he dies.
Yes, he dies. They were zipping him up at the end.
Fucking brain dead.
They zipped him. Yeah. No. It was because the simulation drew on his fears and his guilt and his whatever, and that emotional baggage killed him. So there it is.
I also just I love the fact that it was only 0.4 of a second or something like that. Yeah. That it all happened that quickly. It's just like
rang. Yeah.
That's just terrifying.
This is also a pivotal episode because we've already had they kind of show like the show jumps around timeline wise, which if you've seen the whole series, and if you see parts of it, you maybe pick up on. But this is like, hey, they're starting to show where this technology is from and where it's going and stuff like that. Whereas other episodes early on are like it's already established, so we don't know the timeline of the Black Mirror world. But like there's an overarching story of this whole show, and that's what drives me to it a lot. Is actually it's really neat because we get these different moments like in San Junipero and stuff.
And you see a lot of the connections in the the museum.
Yeah, but like the human cost of technology never stops. Like it starts in the beginning of this episode where there's a human cost to creating the technology that we're going to get in San Junipero so people can eventually live. You know, like a lot of our technological breakthroughs in medicine, unfortunately, come from really awful experiments, you know, in the 40s and 50s. Like there's a human cost to making each other's lives better. Like, hey, you don't have to go out and, you know, make your own running shoes. Some kid in China makes them for you. Lucky you. Like that shit. That's the shit I think about as well with this show. Mm-hmm. Like there's so much societal, like it's the Black Mirror. It's looking back at you. You got to reflect on this stuff and what you're willing to take on.
The moment any company puts out something you stick on your temple, I'm out, man. That's like, I'm going to be like Kelly's husband. I'm just on. Like,
Cyberlink's coming.
Yep.
About.
Any final thoughts on playtests?
I love the jump scares.
They're fun. Like horror movie.
Like that. All of that. Like basically everything that happened to him in the house. I loved it, that part of it in the episode. But I mean, just that last little bit where he has that moment where he sees his mom and then she seems to be like experiencing the Alzheimer's kind of thing. That was just really, it was like upsetting. And then when you find out that none of that actually, and then he just goes, and also just the fact that because he never picked up his phone for his mom, she never knew he was even alive to begin with.
Yeah,
like,
that's the shit that sticks with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys,
that's the shit that rides with me.
Journey, not the destination.
I don't know about
that. Fuck you guys, all of you.
So
except for Marcus and Matt.
Thanks, buddy.
So Matt's not here, but he chose the Christmas episode of season 2.
Oh yeah,
White Christmas.
Technically
White Christmas,
before season 3. This would be season 3, episode 0. White 2.5.
Yeah.
This is the first American episode, basically.
Yes. So John Hamm.
Well, so 3 interconnected tales of technology run amok during the Christmas season are told by 2 men at a remote outpost in a frozen wilderness. I don't recall ever watching this, to be honest.
Really?
When I watched it, there were parts I remember. I remember seeing John Hamm in an episode, but I don't remember watching this whole thing. And
maybe you fell asleep.
Maybe I turned it off because people started blocking each other, and that was fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
that was the most upsetting part of the whole thing, man. Was the blocking of it, everything. I was like, what the fuck?
And the fact that they would do that to
growing up with like Facebook and stuff, and people would block you, and you just like as a teenager, you can as for me anyway, you can feel that frustration of like I just want to talk to this person, and you're like they could literally be down the block, but because you're teenagers and you're connected to the internet, you're like, no, I can't talk to them. Can't talk to them at school anymore. They blocked me on Facebook. But in this kind of situation,
you young whippersnappers, I would just grab my can with the string and just yell into it, man.
That's really interesting because as someone who got Facebook, after university?
Facebook came out when I was leaving high school.
Oh my God, fuck.
Isn't that crazy, Eric? Like we were studying multimedia and that, and like the social media took off maybe like a year after like we were done school.
I mean, there were network sites before that, like, because I had weird friends. Like there was like goth sites that were basically Facebook that I was on because cute girls were like, you should be on this website and then I can share like stupid stuff with you, like quizzes that you'll never want to take.
I love your girl voice. That's really good.
Thank you.
I don't know if I had a
oh, fucking thank you.
So Hawk, when we were in multimedia, I had a friend at Harvard, and he was talking to me about Facebook when it was happening. So it was weird seeing the growth of that because it was very like exclusive back then, and then it went to schools only. I remember that happening.
I know.
So, like, oh man, this episode.
Here's the thing, Steve. Though I don't have Facebook anymore.
Yeah, we know.
The young people aren't on Facebook anymore.
Yeah, I know. We got to repost everything twice just for your benefit.
It's okay.
Discord.
Go over to Discord. Yeah. Thoughts on this episode? I didn't pick it, so this episode, is upsetting.
It is upsetting, but like I kind of like I liked this episode. I didn't like aspects of it, like the blocking thing really bothered me.
Yeah,
just because I could just imagine that kind of like whoop, 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 like freaking Charlie Brown's teacher trying to talk to you, like that kind of thing. Now, of course, they kind of addressed it in the thing. You can still physically touch somebody if you're blocked, but like that's terrifying. A blobby white person running towards you. You don't like, you blocked them. You're not sure if you blocked multiple people. You don't know which one's coming towards you, and then this like kind of thing, like that freaks me out.
Yeah.
And really like that last part where John Hamm's character,
that's terrifying.
Like I like
that's
just
worse,
the way they said it. The way they said it, they're like, well, because you're on this list now, you'll be blocked. And he goes, from who? Everyone. Yeah. And as soon as they said that, I was just like, no.
Yeah.
And then that shot of him looking around confused, and then you see the white blobs of everybody moving around. I was like, that's fucking terrifying. And then that one shot of the guy seeing the red blob, which is John Hamm, and him gripping that the snow globe. I'm like, oh fuck, no. Like that was where that episode just made me go, oh god, this is because John Hamm's character, while yes, he did something wrong, I don't feel like it's justified the punishment.
Yeah.
Like
sure.
Like I feel like, you know what, if he's done some jail time, sure, that's good. If he had to pay some fines or do some community service or whatever, like that kind of stuff, maybe he can't touch computers anymore or that technology anymore. Like I could see that kind of being a good punishment for him. But being blocked from the world from
it's
this
a death
point
sentence, right? Like there's no
it
way.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like what was the alternative?
Worse than exile.
Yeah.
It is worse. Yeah.
Like
death by exile.
What could have been like his sentence that would have like
being in prison
made this
would
the
have been
better
would have been better.
Yeah, right.
Even still, he would have done jail time, and still gotten on a sex offenders registry, and that because that's basically what it is. He was put on a sex offenders registry.
It's solitary confinement in public.
Yeah, like that.
Yes, which is
you're free because you're free. Like you go out into the woods, go camping, go but you can't interact with any human ever.
No,
But isn't that also like, well, what about like, you got to think about the fact that like people who are deaf or people who are blind or like both in some cases, like that's what their existence already is in a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, hey, we're going to ruin your life from what it was to just make you disabled.
But to be fair, him being red, everyone will just avoid him.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no one.
There's no
he's got the red
context.
letter.
Like it's just
like being a leper.
There are two like that was terrifying, and like Greta's story where they put her in the little cookie.
Yeah.
And it was just her in that little computer, and then he would be like, "Let's try 6 months. Let's try like that."
Well,
fucking terrible.
But that's not a person.
Yeah, but
I know.
still.
I know. This is the debate.
You see,
this
It's
this is the thing. This is the
consciousness
thing.
of a person. But it's not a person, right? It's a clone.
Because when we got to the end of the episode and they do yes, it's a clone, but because the clone reacts in such a real humanistic way, like they feel they are that person. So I don't think of it as, it's just some clone thought. I think empathy. what if I was the thing that came out and was like, what the fuck? It's me. What are you doing? It's like, no, you're just a piece of information. No, fuck off. It's me. What are you talking about? And then they fucking put the guy through 1,000 years per minute for all of Christmas playing that fucking song over and over again. Nothing he did could justify somebody doing that. Now, granted, again, yes, it's just a piece of information that is being subjected to this. But imagine feeling that and having to live that over and over again.
Why would it be a complete clone, right? Like, why couldn't it just be aspects? Like,
that's the thing, right? Is that the show is trying to say some other things, but in reality, we're not going to be able to do this shit.
And that this is the fucking like evolution towards San Junipero, or San Junipero evolves to this. Which is sadder.
Now, one thing I wish they had, I not even wish that they had done, because I actually don't wish they had done, but I kind of want to know is what the outcome of that, like 1,000 years a minute for an entire 24 hours or whatever. I want to just know what comes out of that.
No, it's just madness.
What was the point of them
it's madness.
doing that?
It's just madness.
I know it's madness, but I've seen, we have scales and we have visuals and we know what people look like when they are off their rocker. We have seen it, but we could never comprehend what it would feel like or what it would be like to experience that long of term with something. I just want a glimpse at it. But
no.
Yes,
what's wrong with you?
I want to see it.
That's the horror of it. We don't know. That's the.
I feel
no one wants to live 1,000 Christmases in a row.
Of course we don't. Nobody does.
Do you guys remember that old? Do you guys remember that short story by Stephen King, The Jaunt? I think it was in the Graveyard. What was that anthology theory?
Hawk, you know I can't read.
Graveyard Shift.
Okay, yeah, okay. So it was from The Jaunt, and that it was about. I guess time travel, but as a means of traveling. It was teleportation. But the problem was that you could not go through a teleporter conscious. That because time through this teleportation device would stretch out to eons, and that the ending is basically this little kid wanted to see what it looked like, time stretched out to like infinity, and he comes out the other end with his hair white and just screaming, laughing, crying, and that it's longer than you think. It's longer than you think.
God, that's terrifying.
Oh my
that would make a great Black Mirror episode.
Well, what I would have thought about that story is that, Stephen King is obviously a better writer than me. But because if you have to be unconscious when you wake up, you're a different person. I don't know if you know that. When you wake up every day, you're a different person because you just have the memories of the person of yesterday.
Now I'm thinking about what Markus said, and I'm wondering if that song becomes white noise after a while.
Yes. Every thought becomes white noise.
No, because you're not a human and you don't have the ability to turn things off.
I don't like
your brain.
So glad
the physical brain is overloaded. It turns off. That's a
the organic.
Program.
The organic versus the conscious, and that he has no organic body or an organic brain that can sustain damage. So his consciousness is just something that just lives on and on and on, experiencing this with all the typical reactions.
A computer would have to be to just run a human brain and then also do all that other shit.
Okay, but you're assuming that the consciousness part of it is takes that much space. Like maybe on some level, whatever it loads.
Has in the entirety of person's memories and somehow their personality, then it's running something.
I don't know if that's true.
I remember when a gigabyte hard drive was really good, and
Johnny
now it's really
Mnemonic
shitty.
has 1 gigabyte in his brain.
I don't think he even had 1 gigabyte. He had 32. I think he only had 32 gigs actually.
Oh.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll find out later.
But your brain already stores roughly several 100,000 terabytes of information, essentially.
Well, I'm glad you can justify this based on space capacity, because I just, like I said, I like Solaris. I like a lot of movies that talk about human consciousness and what it is to be human and what it is to be emotional and to be a thinking being. And that episode, first of all, I really like the episode because I like that they had the 3 stories and that they really were all connected in the end. And I think that made it a little bit more digestible because of the bite-sized nature of all those stories. So it wasn't as horrific as some of the other ones. I thought it was a really good, for what it was, right? Because I guess it was meant to be this sort of bridging between the British
series always have a Christmas or New Year's episode.
Yeah.
And they're generally longer, so this was just sort of in that trend. And I guess it's the last time they did that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But I thought John Hamm was great. Yeah. And I noticed a lot of. Yeah, I was going to say the one thing about the episode was the punishment that we were all talking about, where he got blocked, right? Overall, that reminded me of an episode of Twilight Zone. Actually, there was a Twilight Zone in the 90s. No, sorry, the 80s, called "To See the Invisible Man," and I remember this episode as a kid because I watched it. I remember eating dinner and watching this, and it was a similar concept where. In this future society, if you did a really bad crime, they would make you invisible, but it wasn't quite as brutal as this, because all they would do is they would mark you in real life. They would put this kind of wart on your forehead, right? And basically anyone who saw it knew they weren't allowed to interact with you. So it wasn't that you were actually invisible. It was just that everybody knew you had this mark and they just couldn't look at you or talk to you. So initially, he kind of fucks around with it, right? He sneaks into places he's not supposed to be, and he gets away with it. But of course, all the women are okay, I know you're here, right? So he knows they see him, right? And the fun of it and after a while, the fact that nobody will talk to him and nobody will acknowledge him, really starts to wear on him, right? So it did the same story, but that was like the only element of it, right? It was just this guy who's ostracized from society and how horrible it was, right? And so it kind of reminded me of that, except that just happens in the last like 2 minutes of the episode. I'm like, oh man, John Hamm is so fucked, right? Like this is so much worse, right?
Because he's like such a personable human being. You just imagine if he couldn't talk to anybody, what would, you know?
Yeah, well, just the logistics of it, because I was thinking of that Twilight Zone episode, and I'm like thinking of him as like, can he like buy stuff? Like what happens if he gets
pulled over?
Have to
by
order
the cops?
everything.
Yeah. Like I guess he could still order stuff. I guess he could still interact online.
Well, Uber
no,
Eats,
because he can't
right?
see anything, right? He's blocked.
No. He just can't see people.
Yeah,
But he can't see images. Remember that guy couldn't look at pictures of his wife because he
can't
can't
look at
block.
pictures.
No. But at least he
can still read a menu.
Yeah, he can read menu, but he can't see. Like he couldn't watch TV.
That's terrible.
Right? That's
He can still get Thai food. He can still point to number 6B.
the comp.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Anyway, so
Okay.
let's.
I
We're
love
supposed to
this
talk.
show so much.
We're supposed to talk about National Anthem next,
So messed up.
but I don't know if we want to talk in depth about this episode.
It's not a good episode. It's not fun.
But
it's
it does
fucked up.
set the precedent of the show.
Yeah.
That being said,
Sure.
Who
you
made
Marcus
Steve watch this
it,
one,
so-
by the way? Whose pick was this?
no, he saw it already.
I already saw
so
it.
nobody picked it.
So
Okay.
this is based-
Eric said that it was one that should be discussed.
Should be
because
what?
it is so important. And
Because it sets the tone and it really.
It's the kind of
It
question of what
established
would
the
save
show.
a life.
Yeah. And we talked about how at this time when it was released this season was fairly important in technology wise. And I don't know if there's anything more we can talk about this episode.
well, I'm just going to say, I mean, we've already all said it. It was an episode that affected us. And it's kind of funny because I was like trying not to spoil anything for anyone in the group. So I was writing to people outside of the group, okay, just to survive this experiment. And it's really funny because a lot of them had actually seen the first episode and had quit the show on that basis alone. They just basically just
That's
stopped.
fair.
And I'm just like,
That's understandable.
I gotta watch like 6 more of these fucking things, okay? You don't even know, right? And I did not rewatch this episode, but that's
fair.
the thing. Like, we all remember it, you know,
I
because
didn't rewatch it either.
it was an extremely well crafted
I
story,
rewatched
right?
it.
You feel I salute you, Hawk. It is just extremely well crafted. I mean, it is uncomfortable, and you sit there and just go, what would you fucking do, right? I mean, what would you do as a leader, as a country with like all these things weighing on you, right? And like as far as social media was, that was like the moment.
This was
with
also the
social
time
media.
when Anonymous got really popular.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah,
it was really.
I don't know if you're aware, but a lot of stuff in Black Mirror has predicted events that have happened in real life.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. No. I do think that it is an important episode because it encapsulates the worst elements of the show, how affecting it can be, and the fact that, as David just said, it predicts things, you know, and there was absolutely nothing about it that seemed sci-fi. Like that was the thing. The episode seemed absolutely contemporary because like with the episode with Shut Up and Dance, there was no science fiction
technology.
No.
Yeah.
It's all existing.
Yeah, it all existed at that time. Anyway, Marcus was forced to see it, so I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm just reminded, like when I starting to watch this and watching it in the order that I watched it in, and getting to National Anthem, it was strange to me because I thought to myself, like, if I had started this knowing like, oh, this is going to be a technology sci-fi / kind of anthology story thing. Like if I thought in my mind Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, if I thought I was entering into that, this doesn't really say that to me. This says something else. So if I was dead set on wanting a Twilight Zone kind of stand-in, this wouldn't have done it for me, and I would have walked away. But the other stories, I wouldn't call them Twilight Zone-esque, but I mean like it's that same kind of, they're trying to create its own thing, but in that world. Mm-hmm. Whereas National Anthem it's a very different thing. It's not what I would have thought it was. It does set up a good precedent for the entire series, but it's also vastly different than almost everything else you're going to watch from that point on.
Mm-hmm.
And have you guys seen the? I'm struggling right now to remember the name of it. The short series on Amazon Prime where they have like an anthology of stories that are technology based as well.
Love and Robots? That one?
Oh, that's on Netflix. That's a
No.
Is it? It's not the Philip K. Dick one, is it?
I think so. The one with the guy he gets that machine to protect his daughter.
Is it Androids Dream of Electric Sheep or something like that?
No.
Oh.
Eric's right on the cusp. I know.
Named it Philip K. Dick anthology after one of his books.
Yeah, I watched one episode of it. I wasn't really impressed.
Well, see, I really liked it, and to me that was
It's
more
just
of
called Electric
what.
Dreams 2017.
Yeah, Electric Dreams.
Yeah, that's the Philip K. Dick one. Yeah.
Wait, is that the one?
I watched the one episode I was really interested in seeing was Autofac because I absolutely love that short story.
Does it start with telepathy? The first episode. That's what this.
No. That's not what I'm.
Okay, you're talking about something else.
Okay.
Oh, now.
God.
Now I'm interested in which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
because that's the one I know.
I'm gonna try to find it after I go through this. But that show that I watched was more of what I thought Black Mirror, or what I would have thought Black Mirror would have been. If somebody explained to me what Black Mirror was going to be, I would have thought it would be more like this show as opposed to what I'm actually watching.
Yeah.
That being said, even though the episodes are upsetting me and definitely upsetting Steve, the actual what they have created is really good, and like the shows are very poignant, and it's an interesting watch for most people. But National Anthem was just a very hard, disgusting watch.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Now, but up until the actual event, it's actually a pretty good story of them trying to navigate this whole thing, and the fact that they have to deal with something when it's like, what happens when something's leaked to the masses? What happens when it's out of your control and YouTube has sent it to everybody, and everybody can now take that and send it to everybody else? Like that's a problem that I think everybody in the world fears anyway. And the fact that they just kind of brought it to such a scale, because I mean, again, if this is a BBC thing, that's the worst it can get on their continent right there. Like, it seems like the worst kind of thing. Now, for me, while it was an upsetting episode and everything, the thing that was the absolute worst for me to watch was there's two parts, and one is just when he walks into the studio and just they get a quick shot and they show the pig.
Yes.
I feel like if they never showed the pig, I probably would have been able to stomach the whole thing a lot better. Just the shot of the pig, because then suddenly you're like, now I have a visual of what this pig looks like.
It's real.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the shot of him in the bathroom, like vomiting profusely, throwing up, and his face just, it's like he was at one of those kids award shows and he got slimed. Like, that's just how disgusting he looks. And I just imagine like that feeling will never go away for him.
No.
His like in the canon of the show, his poll numbers go up as prime minister.
Yes.
But his wife never talks to him again.
Never talks to him again.
The ending is very well, that's the thing. Like, the show really rings true, right? Like, that's one of the things that I think makes it so powerful, because it taps into very uncomfortable areas of I guess human relationships, you know, and the outcomes are very realistic. I mean, they're not ideal necessarily. And I mean, I think that's the reason
that like we've never had a show, in my opinion, that has been willing to do this kind of stuff, to really just hammer home about how awful things can be sometimes. Right?
That's fair.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So those were the episodes that we mentioned. We decided to talk about. There were a couple runners up. I don't think we'll talk about them because we're running a bit long today. But it is. I will mention them. We talked about Hang the DJ, which is season 4, episode 4. This was an episode about a dating app and sort of the. Without spoiling
it's about a society that is forced to
use the dating
couple to hang out together, but this runs their lives basically.
This is the first one I watched with my girlfriend, by the way.
Oh God.
I don't know why she likes me either. I don't get it.
Couples, unless you're just just really tight. Okay, I just
To be fair, I think the ending of this episode, Hang the DJ, is sort of sweet.
It's
Sort of.
good. It's
yeah.
it's a good ending.
I still think
There's
it's
hope.
all.
There's hope at the end of this one. There's all that stuff happens, but it kind of doesn't matter. There's hope for these two people.
You guys but you're dismissing the AI like life. So
Who gives a fuck
so
about
easily.
the AI? I'm not an AI.
Anyway, it's not important. It's not important.
Okay.
The next episode that was suggested by Michael and by Matt Moore was season 4, episode 5, Metalhead, which is a black and white post-apocalyptic movie. Pretty much,
Dark.
it's dark.
I would say very quickly.
Sorry.
Speaking of which, it's filmed in black and white because this is actually one of the most direct episodes to be influenced by the Twilight Zones. Now, apparently, it's based on an old episode called The Invaders. If you can find it, you should probably watch it. Yeah.
Oh,
I know that
rewatch
episode.
that.
Yeah, now I
I
have to
know
rewatch
that
this
episode
one.
too.
Huh.
I was gonna say
they have similarities to it too, right? Like, because I saw a thing where like they at the end the invaders would have a knife.
Yep.
The dog picks up
okay.
the knife and
The
everything.
little
It's
ray
like,
guns that they shot at the woman in that, they cause these little burns, like radiation burns on
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
skin, and that to
Interesting.
mirrors like what happened to her. And
Oh.
also,
oh wow.
there was
Okay.
that at the end of the episode for the Twilight Zone. Should I mention it here? For
Go for it.
Maybe
It's
not,
like
maybe
a
not.
60-year episode.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, at the end of the episode, you think these are aliens that are doing this and that, but at the end of the episode, you see this crashed U.S. aircraft ship. and
U.S.
that.
Air Force Space Probe number 1.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. These things were designed by people and apparently are people, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna say just real quick on that one. It's a really cool, stylish episode, and I'd say it still ends up being a Black Mirror episode because when you understand the implications of the whole thing
Yep.
and the grimness of the whole thing, but it's still I think it's much more watchable because it's closer to like a horror thriller more than anything else. It's
That's
not
true,
as
that's
much
true.
of
Yeah.
a commentary than anything. Yeah.
And then
The dog creatures in it were actually based on the Boston Dynamics.
Dynamics.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
looked like
Yeah.
it too.
I feel like
Crazy.
this is a good episode that if you just wanted to like get somebody to watch an episode that has nothing to do with Black Mirror, it's like this is a cool episode.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
There's lots of stuff to like about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it has very little to do with the rest.
I don't
of the
think I was
series. Like, it
horrified
does,
at the
but-
end of it.
No, I just thought it was
it's
a
bit
cool-
depressing, but
It's
It's
just
it's a depressing, but it's a cool episode.
yeah, it's closest to an actual conventional movie than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I found out what that show is called that I was trying
Ooh,
to.
yeah.
Explain. It's called Tales from the Loop.
I don't.
Oh.
Okay.
I remember
Yeah.
hearing
I mean,
about this. I never watched it.
I've heard of that.
I recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. Take a look at it because it's to me this is what I thought Black Mirror was gonna kind of be
Becca Hall, wow.
after finding out what it was.
I'm gonna need to.
It's
recover
on
after
Amazon
this.
Prime. So
Amazon Prime. Yeah, it's a. But I really liked it, and I hope they do another series of it or another season of it or something.
Did they only
Um,
do one?
So far, it's only been the one.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a 2020 production, so I mean, it's possible that they plan on doing another one.
They brought back Warrior.
The Tales from
Guys
the
of-
Loop RPG.
Anyway, the final episode that was mentioned was David's runner-up, and it was Striking Vipers, season 5, episode 1.
This is a great show to watch with your boys. Just get your boys
Yeah.
together,
Don't
sit
do
down
it.
on the couch, you watch
Don't
Striking,
watch it with your
Striking
spouse.
Vipers
Yep.
with your boys.
Watch it with your
don't.
boys.
That's right.
Don't do it.
This
Don't do it.
this episode featured Anthony Mackie and Yaha Abdul Mateen II, both awesome Marvel actors in very non-Marvel roles. Also,
yeah.
Ludi Lin is in this, who played Liu Kang in the amazing 2021 adaptation of Mortal Kombat.
Okay, as if we need more horror in our show today.
Metal sweaters.
Don't forget, he also played Dr. Manhattan, the Watchman. Watchman.
Ludi Lin?
Nice.
No.
Yeah. My team.
Abdul Mateen, yeah. He
Oh,
played,
I was talking about Ludi Lin. He was also in the Power Rangers, I think 2016 movie, which is actually not that bad.
Yeah, this wasn't a good episode to end on if we're throwing these types of recommendations around.
I like that movie. It was fun. So that's Black Mirror, guys. Have a good night. No.
I'm just drinking straight gin now. I can't even open my fucking tonic. I'm just
That's
like, fuck
okay.
it.
Text my buddy if he wants to play some Striking Vipers real quick.
No, I'm out. Not putting anything on my temples, man.
If there are any episodes that we should have mentioned send us a message. All our socials are at the end.
I hate you all. I'm not going to watch them.
We are definitely going to do a lighter episode next time. It is the 40th anniversary of Raiders of the Lost Ark, so that's an idea. They're celebrating the 11th anniversary of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. There's also a number of other stuff, so we will do something not as dark as Black Mirror. Also, E3 is around the corner, so maybe some video gamey stuff. We'll see.
Yeah,
cool. We do a lot of things.
What's the point? I mean, we're all in the system. I mean, it's all just.
No, we're not, Steve.
Fucking
have hope.
We will have
What's
some
hope. It's a line of code, like you said. It doesn't matter.
There are some fun video games that we'll be reviewing soon too. Hopefully.
Yeah, like this show. This show is a fucking video game.
Happy times, Steve. Happy times.
Happy. We're playing D&D's tomorrow night. D&D's not Wednesday night.
We're moving our games to
yeah.
Tuesday night. They're premiering on Twitch, but they will also be released on YouTube and probably MP3 form on the Wednesdays. So we are gonna put that out there.
When I get burnt to a crisp.
What are you talking about? You are going to be fine. I'm creating
a bunch of zeros and ones.
Don't tell him, Eric. We'll find out tomorrow.
Steve, wait till tomorrow because I have an awesome character in my head and I have an awesome voice that's going to go with it. What?
That's all we are.
There we go.
Voices in someone else's head.
So thank you, Steve, Markus, Dave, Huck, for coming and talking about this very depressing. Thank you, Matt Moore, who's off into the Black Mirror. He couldn't come back.
My God.
He's trapped in a puck somewhere.
Oh my God, no.
He's in the abyss.
Monkey sad.
Oh, so
Monkey sad.
Pray for Mojo.
So thank you. Thank you all
I
for.
can think of was that Rick and Morty thing. It's just like, what is my purpose? Your purpose is to
Gut butter.
Oh my God.
My God.
That's all I can think of watching Black Mirror. I'm just like,
Thank you
why am I
all.
watching Black Mirror? My only purpose is to watch Black Mirror. Oh my God.
Thank you all out there for listening to this episode. Thank you all who came and watched us live and watched us break down live. We shall talk to you guys soon in a couple weeks. Goodbye. Well, that's it for us this week on Geeks with Kids. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at podcast@geekswithkids.ca. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekswithkids. Follow us on Twitter at geekswithkidstn. Check out our pics on Instagram at geekswithkids. And you can find all of this good stuff on our website at www.geekswithkids.ca. So if you like what you hear, why don't you hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. This podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.